Hello and welcome, everybody. I'm Jono, the Eternal Optimist, and how you doing? How's everybody doing? Hope you're having a great weekend. Is it really Sunday? Is Sunday really over? It went by too quickly. Hope you had a great weekend, and we're going to finish it off with some Eternals tonight. Of course. Let's get those traditionals out the way, though. So, thank you, Hector and Maddie M, for your support in the Golden Wings, everybody in the Noble and Snow Wings, and of course, all you fine people that have come by for some laughs. Let's see. Welcome, Jetski Sam, Ludwig, Diamond Heart. Yeah, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're doing well. I am going to have a sippy sip of some... Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. I'm sleepy. My arm hurts from clicker games. Yeah, please be careful with those. I once gamed on a mouse that was way too small for me. I played a lot of League of Legends on a mouse that was way too small. And I damaged my index finger. I had to have like cortisone injections. And I had to wear a finger brace for like a year. The doctor was like, you're not allowed to play games for a year. And I was like, please no, anything but that. No. Yeah. That's when I got into rhythm games. I used my other hand and played rhythm games. Anyway. Welcome. Ooh, Jono, mi mordos vin. Hi, welcome. I don't recognize your name, but welcome. How you doing? Hi. Yeah, we're actually doing an adventure story. So we're reading along. We're quite a few chapters into the story at the moment. But just so you know, we are a sort of super soldier who tried to take over the empire that raised us, and things went wrong, and we now woke up 500 years later. Let's see here. Oh my god, he used the avatar. Exactly. I actually I saw your comment, so I switched over to Dogboy because you requested it. Let's see here. Jono, check DMs. Yeah, I did. Okay, why is that being... just a second. Hopefully that'll fix it. Yep. Okay. It's so cute. Yeah, I like Dogboy. Wrong one. I like Dogboy. Dogboy's great. I actually wonder, does Dogboy have an emotion here? It does! I do have a pout. I completely forgot about the pout. Because I can only bind 3 for my feet. So additional ones, I kind of forgot about them. So yeah, I forgot that I had a pouting function. Hi, Nail, welcome. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. No, why is it lagging? It's okay on my end. On my end, it says the stream is perfectly fine. But hey, Nail, how you doing? Hi. Yeah, we're gonna be using Dogboy tonight. I think yeah, we've been using the elf quite a bit, and we use the base model for the horror game. By the way, it's a public holiday here where I'm staying on Wednesday, so that means I can do a stream on Tuesday. I can do a Halloween. Yeah, Valentine's stream on Halloween. Let's go. Hector, welcome. How you doing, Hector? Hope you're doing well. Yes, lag be gone. Okay, that's good. So maybe sometimes it might be fluctuating stuff. Here too. Plus, I'm not working on Monday. Ooh, nice. So you just have Tuesday, and yeah. So yeah, Tuesday we're gonna do a special Halloween stream. Haven't fully decided on what it exactly is going to be, but I want it to be spooky themed. So we might play Mortuary Assistant again, but I haven't fully decided. Man, that game scared me good. It gave me goosebumps, and you saw my heart rate. 112? Oh, yeah, 112 BPM. Mikuvama, welcome. Hi. Can't wait to see what happens. Also, it's lagging. No. It says here everything is excellent connection, no dropped frames. Everything is okay on my end. Maybe just go back like a second and just play it not in real time. That might be the cause. Okay, let's go to the gaming room. And hopefully I got it working. Yay! Okay. So that's loud. Okay. Just for a quick recap what happened last time. We don't like the guy who's on our political side because it seems all his family just walks all over him. So we're not very impressed with him, how like much of a pushover he is. And then on top of that, we managed to convince the orcs, but the orcs are getting their own like more advanced culture. So they now ride on animals, and their shaman seems to be smarter than the orcs we remember. But yeah, it's working for me. No lag. Okay. I just watched the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Maybe I should play Five Nights. I've got Five Nights at Freddy. Okay, I think about it. But yeah, Halloween. I want spooks. I want scares. All right. Year 540. It's not there yet. So we're 40 years old now. It's not there yet, but the political and social climate in the Republic is finally getting to the point that there's little more recognizable to you. Thanks to Trog's actions, the orcs have been attacking and the Nayland just like you wanted. After a couple of burned down massacred villages, the Naylanites are a lot more supportive of military endeavors, kobold citizens especially, but that's hardly surprising given their nature. The citizens are also becoming more fearful and suspicious of the foreign threats, like the Ushaka. Highlighting the Sandman drug epidemic and crime due to it, Quintus has managed to get restrictions on the southern borders of Nayland. The Ushaka that used to live within Nayland are starting to go back to their desert due to the increasingly hostile population. Trade hasn't completely stopped, but the relationship between the Republic and the Emirates is very strained now. Of course, some of this still wouldn't be possible without the Senate support. However, that's become more in Quintus's favor due to the combination of several factors. Some are just like the peasants. They're getting scared because their comfortable lifestyles are at risk and want to protect themselves. Some were weak from the start and voted depending on which way the majority is heading. Oh yeah, politicians just relying on stats to decide policy? There are still holdouts that don't agree with more militant policies, however. Even the will of the people does not sway them to fall in line. Most vocal of these is Senator Bartholomeus Ventus, who has long been a rival of Quintus. He stated that this trend towards militarism is going to lead back to the dark days when the matriarch Tarna ruled the land. He has also stated quite openly that Quintus is a warmongering fool that is only a puppet for his mysterious eternal advisor. You're not wrong! Quintus hates the man more than he hates the Ushaka and feels he is the main cause of all of his woes. Apparently, he's also decided that even if it isn't quite time to dismantle the Senate, it is time to get rid of Battalimus, and has tried to have the man assassinated on a few occasions. Should have asked us. All attempts have failed so far because they didn't ask us, and all it's done is serve to make Battalimus Sorry, it's a hard name, okay? I'm trying. Battalimus more cautious and legitimize his accusations about Quintus, even if he can't quite connect Quintus to the actual assassins. Politics, I hate them. So what did I miss? What the hell did I miss? Basically, we jumped 500 years in the future, and we realized that the only sort of surviving nation that sort of resembles the Empire is very much not like the Empire anymore. So we're kind of changing the culture behind the scenes, manipulating this one politician, Quintus. So yeah, we're using Quintus to try and rebuild the Empire so that we can become the new Emperor. I'm assuming that's chat's plan, because remember, you guys get to vote on how this goes. Okay. You're going to have to speak with Trog soon about the attacks having served their purpose and that he needs to ease up. Trog is under the impression that after all this is over, he, or at least his people, will have a place within the new order when it finally comes about. In truth, you'd like to have a few orc legions, if only for the intimidation factor of keeping the citizenry in line. However, you aren't exactly sure how likely that's going to be, since orcs are increasingly becoming hated by the average citizen and are unlikely to want them to be incorporated into the new order no matter what, let alone as soldiers. Another problem for another day, you suppose. Right now, though, you are on your way back from another visit with Quintus, who basically did nothing but bitch about Bartholomeus. And on your way back to Kuala, you're a lot better known now. As you pass through, you mostly get a lot of respectful nods from the military and worried glances from the citizens. Your reputation within the Republic has grown, and it's much like it was back in the old Empire days. There's a certain familiarity, there's a certain familiar comfort in that. Before you leave Dalt, you decide to pay a visit to Calvin's museum to see Jennifer. Since the Orc War, expeditions to the Kuala Badlands have been put on hold, so Calvin and Jennifer have returned to their work at the museum to study what they have found in more detail and ultimately put it on display. I'm being reminded of Dr. Stone. Hey, Healy. I know of Dr. Stone, but I actually have to watch it. I need to sit down and watch it. I actually just started watching Recreators today. Only the first episode. Okay. But yeah, hi Haley, hope you're having a great day. When you enter, you see a sign that tells people to be sure to visit the brand new Empire exhibits. Jono was feeling romantic. Doing all right. How about you? I'm doing good, Hector. I'm doing good. My throat's a little funny, so I may have picked up a bug from somebody on the train. Hopefully not. We'll find out the next few days. When you enter, you see a sign that tells people to be sure to visit the brand new Empire exhibit. Naturally, you wander over to where these displays are, so you can see how much they actually got right. When you get to the exhibit, it's currently empty of visitors. You're impressed with what you see, though. They've managed to recreate a small portion of the Emperor's palace and fill it with the old stuff they found. Some of the things are just replicas, but they're very good replicas and in the correct locations. They even managed to restore one of the Emperor's big black statues. Just looking at the stuff makes you feel like you're back where you should be. When you close your eyes, you can almost imagine that you are where you want to be. If only things had been different, you wouldn't have to be starting all over again. That's your fault, chat, not mine. We tried to make it look like what we thought it looked like in the past, and based on the writings we found. You hear Jennifer's voice say, and you open your eyes to see her stand to the right of you. You did a good job. Almost feels like home. That big-ass black statue wasn't in the throne room, though. In fact, the Emperor never even used the throne room when I knew him, you say. Yeah, but we didn't have any place else to put it. I think it's impressive looking where we did put it, though. She should draw in a lot of people. So did you come here to revisit old memories? Not at first, but this was a nice distraction. Not at first, but this was a nice... Oh, glad to hear it. Well, I'll leave you to your thoughts, Jennifer says, and begins to leave. No, stay here with me. I came here to see you in the first place. Besides, no point in reliving the past glories when I don't have anyone to share said glories with, you say, and grab her hand. Oh boy, it's happening. Oh gosh, I feel so sorry for our wife. Oh, by the way, chat, I'm going to say this now because I don't think we're going to be able to get this ending. But I saw one of the people reviewing the story because I was trying to see how long it was going to go on for. And one person said they managed to get the Eternity with Abigail ending. So there was a way to live forever with your first wife. But I think we're going down the path of multiple marriages. Oh boy. You say as you grab her hand. Oh damn. Yeah, I have a suspicious feeling that the Eternity with Abigail was probably if we went to the Island of Necromancers with the Emperor, but we decided not to do that. So here we are, 500 years in the future. Jennifer's reaction is a positive one in that she doesn't let go and moves closer to you. So, since you've got the time, how about you tell me about some of these old glories? Jennifer asks. You gladly do so. You talk with Jennifer for hours until it starts getting late, at which point you say you have to get back to your mission in Kuala. Jennifer understands and wishes you luck with it on it. If you're going to wish me luck, how about you do it with a kiss? You ask, which takes Jennifer by surprise. Oh damn! We've learned how to riz! We're actually pretty good at this now. All it took was one marriage and eliminating our mummy issues. Please don't quote that. Please don't clip that without context. Okay. That's certainly new. What brought this on? I thought you liked me. You do, don't you? Well, of course. I'm sure. I was pretty obvious about it. Well, why ask? I'm fond of you as well. I like your company, and you're the only person I've ever considered my friend since I got dug up. You're independent, you're physically attractive, and you listen to all my stories. What's not to like? You say, which causes a small chuckle from Jennifer. Okay, we'll talk more about this later, but for right now, here's that kiss. Jennifer moves in to kiss you, and the pair of you embrace. Congratulations! Oh, is it lagging, Namame? No! No, it says my stream is okay. Try going back like a few seconds. All right, I'm leaving for a bit. This lag is too annoying and I'm sleepy. Okay, bye, Diamond Heart. Sorry about the lag. Now it's lagging for you too. Okay, let me restart my laptop quickly. It might be my laptop, so we'll just quickly kill it and find out. Hold on, chat. Okay, I should be back now. Should be back now. Give me a sign, chat. Give me a sign. Show me the emojis that we love so much. Also, where are the dog boy ears? Sacrilege! Put on the ears! Okay, the ears are on. Now just gotta fix VTube Studio. Come on. You're back. Okay. That works. That works. Okay. You did not see earless dog boy. I have 4 ears, okay? At all times. I have both the human and the dog ears. You know how, like, anime character designs with, like, animal ears, they always make sure the character has long enough hair to block wherever the human ears are supposed to be. We didn't do that for this one. It's still not working? Come on. One more time. Yeah, VTube Studio is a little funky on that. So I have to, like, unplug it, close the app, replug it, restart the app, and then sometimes it'll connect. If it doesn't connect this time, then let me go down to USB. Aha! Success! All right. Okay, so there we go. Has the lag gone? Did that fix it? Did that fix the lag? I hope so. You're back. You're back. Doesn't seem to be tracking. You aren't lagging, at least not over here. Perfect. Okay, we're going to assume that it was my laptop. My bad. All my computers are giving me troubles now. I don't want to upgrade my computer this year. Okay. So we got the kiss. Yep. After your minor amorous interlude, you take your leave of the museum. You briefly wonder if pursuing a relationship with Jennifer is a good idea, but what's done is done, and you'll just have to figure it out. Once again, another problem for another day, you suppose. Just as you get out the gates of Dolt, 2 guards approach you. They're not military or domestic security. They look like private guards, probably those of a senator. You the Eternal? One of them asks. Yes, you answer. Senator Batalimus wants to see you. If you would accompany us to his home, please? It's just a few miles west of the city. Well, this is an interesting turn of events, though perhaps you're not entirely unexpected. If you had to guess, Batalimus either plans to have you killed when you arrive to meet him, or he's going to try to convince you to be on his side. You doubt that he has the means to do either. You don't know if you should even bother entertaining him at all, but then you think if he does try to kill you, then you'll have eliminated the need to kill him later. Hell, even if he doesn't try to kill you, maybe you should just do it anyway. You agree to follow the guards, and eventually you reach Batalimus's estate. His home isn't much bigger than Quintus's home, though there are a lot more trees and gardens on his ground. As you expect, there are a lot of guards patrolling around, probably all those assassinations. When you step through the front door, you feel like you've stepped into a barracks rather than a senator's mansion due to all the guards standing around. Soon, an older, balding man dressed in a purple robe comes down the grandiose staircase. It's Batalimus. Hey, it's working again. Yay, I'm having problems. It's not you, Jono. Never mind. Never mind, frick. Finally, the stream is fixed for me. Uh-huh. Yeah, there's not much more I can do. I mean, I restarted my laptop, so... Okay, I'm going to assume it's fine for everyone. Ah, the Eternal. At last we meet face to face, Batalimus says. Yes, I'm surprised you didn't confiscate my weapons, though, you answer. Whatever for? We all know you can just incinerate or fry everyone in the room with a snap of your fingers. It's not like you actually need a sword or even a pistol. You're a walking weapon without such things. So, why risk bringing me here, then? Because I have nothing to lose. Your associate, Quintus, seems quite determined to have me killed. Granted, he always harbored ill feelings, but now that little reprobate has the advantage, his confidence has reached an all-time high. I suppose the fool has to have his fun, though, given the family he has. He knows! In any case, I figure it's only a matter of time before he sends you to do the deed, and while I could increase my security even further, I quite frankly doubt if it would stop the likes of you. At best, you might get mad. I like him. He's actually quite honest. He's quite upfront. He's just like, yeah, I know everything that's going on here. And I would prefer to just talk to you rather than trying to deal with this impossible problem. You have to appreciate someone who knows exactly where they stand. So, you brought me here to kill you? Ha! I hope not. But I suppose that is a strong possibility. No, what I'd like to do is try to convince you to perhaps not kill the Republic, because that is what you and Quintus are striving to do, though I believe I actually have a shot with getting through to you. You aren't saddled with any emotions of hatred towards me. To you, I'm just another potential obstacle in your goals. If I have to be killed, then you will, but if it isn't necessary, you won't. Well, it looks like Optimist has opted to try to get you on his side, just like you thought he might. He is overestimating your willingness to kill him, though. True, you don't have any hatred for the man, and you quite honestly, you probably already respect him more than Quintus within the short time you've met him, but you've been known to kill folks even if you believe that they could be potential obstacles in the future. Still, killing Optimist right now isn't exactly part of the plan, so you most likely just leave unless he tries to stop you. Then again, you did come all this way, so there's no harm in hearing him out. Okay, chat, we got our first poll. What do we do? Question mark. Do we stay or do we leave? Swap, reset, start, and start. Boom. There we go. Starting now. It's not your scuff. It's probably my scuff. I took it back. I took it from Jono. Yippee. Let's freaking go. It's finally working. Nice. Yeah. Okay, let me get the stuff working on my end. 3, 2, 1, and done. Okay, you guys are all voting to stay. Okay, we're gonna hear him out. To be honest, I would have done the same. I mean, that other guy, like, he wants to bring back the Emperor, but my goodness, the way his wife talks to him and the misbehavior from his daughter, jeez. My goodness. Okay, refresh the page. Scroll this to the top. And then swap. Okay. We decide to stay. Let him cook. Okay, I'll listen to your pleas, but I doubt that you'll be able to convince me of anything, you remark. You seem so certain, Optimist says. Of course I am. For one, I am not some scared citizen or greedy senator that can be bribed or frightened into submission. I am not an ignorant peasant either that can be merely swayed by lies. Never thought you were. Second, and more importantly, I was not impressed with your republic when I was first dug up, and I continue to be unimpressed with it now. It is an inefficient form of government that allows too much power to the people, and it doesn't even do that right, considering all the corruption. Oh, I wouldn't say that. Within the last few years, the people have been making demands for more security and defense, and Quintus has been delivering appeasements to them. It would seem that you've managed to make the system work for you, Optimist says. And don't you think that's proof that your system is broken? If you were the ruler of this country, you wouldn't be in the situation you are now. You'd be able to have Quintus executed along with everyone that didn't fall in line. You may be right. Of course I'm right, because the masses are, by and large, weak-willed fools that actually desire a strong hand to rule them and do the thinking for them. Honestly, I don't know how your system lasted as long as it did. Because it worked, or at least it did before you came around. So, you're going to blame me for your system's weaknesses? Seems to me as it should have been strong enough to weather the presence of one man. Optimist begins laughing. One man? Yes, it's done that for quite some time. Do you think Quintus is the only one who has ever wanted to bring back the so-called good old days? His kind always existed in some form or another since the infancy of the Republic. Sometimes there were even whole groups of his type. The difference is, there was never any incentive for the rest of the population to actually listen to them before. There was never a living god on their side, defending everyone from vicious foreign attacks like all of those of the orcs, let alone scaring the hell out of everyone by his mere presence. I am no god. For all intents and purposes, you might as well be. The rumors alone are enough to cause most to think you are, but even without such rumors, the facts are still enough to impress what you could call the masses. Quintus isn't the only one who has access to old Empire history at the Mole Museum. You were the right-hand man of a supposedly near-omnipotent emperor. You survived the cataclysm that destroyed the old Empire. You're certainly the most skilled warrior that anyone has ever seen, and you command the use of magic, which is an incredibly rare thing nowadays. Other than a few exceptional Svelk and Lenny, wizards just don't exist anymore, let alone any of your power. I doubt with even all the magic trinkets Quintus has dug up, he'll be able to protect himself when you finally decide to kill him. He knows what we want. He knows what we want. I guess so. I'm breathing. Oh, okay. Yeah. Granted, you haven't given that possibility much serious thought, but Telemus is probably right about that outcome. While all of this is very interesting, you still failed to make your case, and you're beginning to waste my time, you say. Yes, forgive me. I'm used to droning on in the Senate. I forgot that someone like you would rather get right to the point. Right then, here it is. The Republic is better in the long term for the people than your empire. You're silent. I certainly hope that isn't your only argument, Batalamus. No, but it should be the only one that matters. Even if you succeed in all your endeavors, you have to know that this revived empire isn't going to last. At best, it'll last a century after your own death, and given that you're constantly walking in its shadow, who knows how quick that might come. Choose your next words carefully. One could perceive that as a threat. A threat? No. Poorly worded, I agree. Mainly because I doubt you'll actually die violently, despite your particular lifestyle. I'd almost be willing to wager you'll die an old man in your sleep. A great irony, I suppose. Anyway, the point still remains. You'll have to know that your empire will not last long after your death. It didn't even last long during your life. It only fell because of... You nearly say because of your actions, but you stop yourself. Because of what? Batalamus asks. Because of the cataclysm. It would have still been standing today if it hadn't been the case. You're guessing. Even if the cataclysm hadn't occurred, it would have been something else. Despite the fact that you belong to a repressive system, I do know that in your way, you serve the concept of a greater good. You believe that you're actually helping the people by keeping them in line, and maybe you even are to a certain extent, but it's at the cost of the liberty and freedom, and that is an anathema to me. I'm watching all of what was built being slowly destroyed before my eyes. We as a people came about from the chaos of the cataclysm and eventually found a better way to live, one that did not submit to the whims of a single ruler or is at the mercy of a tyrant. No, it wasn't a perfect system, but we were always working to fix the problems for the people, and they were happy. I don't see any joy when I look at the people nowadays. All I see is fear, paranoia, and suspicion. Can't you see that all you're doing is throwing the people to a backwards age, and ultimately it'll do nobody any good? Good thing I'm not trying to please you then. I'd argue that I've already fixed a few of the major problems with the recent changes. For one, crime is down, and you're no longer a potential doormat if anyone stronger should suddenly appear. Even the pirate attacks are much lower now. Yes, military strength, the backbone of all proper dictators. Let me guess. After this place is completely under your thumb, your next steps will be to send it forth and conquer land, right? How are you going to do that for the Qualan Badlands? You're going to force thousands of people to settle on inhospitable land where it's nearly impossible to farm? And how do your orc friends figure into all this? I know you probably have some sort of conspiracy going on with them because they never attacked us like they have been recently. You're going to somehow force the Nalan citizens with their newborn xenophobia to live with them, or are you going to just commit genocide on the orcs and chalk them up as expendable losses? Then what after? You're going to waste countless lives conquering the 6 cities of Arad, the Oshaka Emirates, the Red Cap Kingdom. When is it all going to end? Tell me, what do you personally hope to gain by re-establishing an empire? A need for familiarity? A simple power grab? Is it all because of an outdated sense of duty? Whatever the reason, none of them are really good ones for what you're doing. Your time was the past, and you can't recapture what you lost. Your empire, as you knew it, is long dead, because all the things eventually end. All of this, what you're doing, is proof that you just cannot accept that fact. You've heard enough. Funny that you said that, Banter, because I'd say it's the opposite. What? Your republic is dying, and this desperate attempt to try to convince me not to continue my actions is proof that you cannot accept that all things eventually end. I know somewhere within you that you can see my side of this. I mean, I won't deny that your presence hasn't been positive for the country in some ways. You could still have a place here in the Republic. You have so much power that could be used to help people in a positive way. Wouldn't you rather be known as a loved hero than a figure of fear? Batalamus exclaims. I've known several heroes in the past, some of them fellow Eternals, and all of them were figures of fear. Look, I've already pointed out the weaknesses of your inferior system, and you failed to convince me otherwise. It doesn't matter what if I do or don't see your side of things. Whatever motivations you think I'm doing this for doesn't matter. I'm fairly certain whatever arguments you may have aren't going to convince me either, so this has just been a waste of both of our time. It takes a moment for Batalamus to gather his thoughts. I had hoped and perhaps naively thought that you were a reasonable man, but I was wrong. Apparently I did bring you here to kill me. Maybe not in the physical sense, but I see now that there will be no stopping what is to come. It's a bitter thing seeing what you love die you love the most die before your eyes. Join the club, Banter, and I'm not talking about the Empire. You answer, and take that as your cue to leave. You half expect Batalamus to have his guards attack you in some last attempt to save his republic, but he just sits there, impotently in defeat. That's exactly why his republic is dying. Nobody cares enough about it to fight for it. This man is probably the only one left who does care, and he used words as his weapons. Better that he should have tried to have you assassinated as soon as you walked in the door. Hi, the king. Welcome. Woof, woof, woof. How you doing? Hi. Yeah, we're doing a read-along. You've heard enough. Stabs. Oh, boy. Okay. But this isn't your problem. Your problems are elsewhere, and after you leave Batalamus's home, you head back to the Qualan Badlands. A few days later, at your patrol camp, you receive a letter from a messenger. At first, you think it's from Quintus, with another request for you to help him with some task that is too difficult for him, but you're surprised when you find out it's from Batalamus. Eternal. By the time you read this, I will be dead. I want to thank you, for I believe our little talk finally gave me the courage to just end it all. Wow! Wow, he stole our kill! The funny thing is, I had the idea to have Quintus assassinated before I spoke with you, thinking that even if I couldn't kill you, I would at least have taken away your partner on the Republic's relations side of things, making the transition from Republic to Empire a little more difficult for you. Perhaps you would have gotten so frustrated that you would have left. Then I realized I can't save the Republic by destroying it or my ideals, and it wouldn't have stopped you anyway. The days of the Republic are indeed numbered, and I'd rather remember it for as it is rather than continue to see it its own death throes. It is my time that has passed. Your time is now. Still, I can't help being an idealist. Perhaps if your empire can live again, then perhaps one day so will my republic. I can have faith in that as I pass this on to the other world. Good luck, Eternal, in your pursuit of war and conquest. Though I should like to think that maybe my words still got through to you a little bit. Maybe you will realize that the people are important and not just resources to be used on the battlefield or whatever else. That a government can exist that doesn't require repressive domestic methods or subjugation of foreign lands. But then, as I said, I'm an idealist. Batalamus Ventus. After reading the letter, you toss it into the fire. One of the soldiers asks you if it's another order from Quintus. No, just news that another obstacle is no longer an issue. You remark. Damn! If you don't know about, you'll know. Okay. A few days pass, and you've been thinking about Batalamus's words a lot more since there isn't much going on in the way of action in the camp. While he ended up agreeing with you that the Republic is coming to an end no matter what, you're still struggling with the idea that what is going to replace it. Since you won't truly be the Empire as you knew it, old Batty was right. Even you didn't change his mind. Your time is still the past. You've had 5 years to get used to the changes, and while you have, and are even thriving, you're never going to feel comfortable. Even if you kill Quintus and seize power and everything goes well with that, you still have to go through with the process of reconquering everything again. Something you really shouldn't have to do. You should have had your birthright over 500 years ago. Now you feel like you have to play catch up for a much lesser prize. Most of the old lands are indeed ruined to a degree that you can't imagine anyone wanting to live there, even if you did conquer it. Pushing people into doing so is liable to cause a revolt, or at worst, or just flat out attrition at best. You don't want to even ponder yet. What's the alternative? Not killing Quintus and serving as his loyal right-hand goon? Continue to watch that fool take all the credit for the stuff you will no doubt have had a hand in? No. You did that already, and at least with the Emperor, you didn't have to put up with any sort of dysfunctional family every time you visited him. You think back to when you spent time in the museum with Jennifer talking about that past. There's still happiness you've been since you woke up. You even wonder if you shouldn't just abandon all these desires and ambitions. What has it really gotten you in the scheme of things? You made the big gamble the first time and it didn't work out. Maybe that was a sign. You wonder if you shouldn't just settle down with Jennifer and try to live a normal life. Oh boy, chat. We have a choice here. Oh boy. Oh, wait. Start a poll. Here we go. Oh man, we got a choice here. What do we do? Do we dismiss such weak thoughts? Or do we retire? Oh. It's like, do you guys want to end the story now? Or do you want to keep going? Starting the poll. It's like, you know what? We're just gonna have kids and end it. This is funny. Okay. Oh. Chat is split. I'm gonna let it tick down for a little bit more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, we retiring. Is that okay? I guess we're going to go with Jennifer. Yeah. Do we retire? 66%. So, yeah, we're going with Jennifer. Okay, here we go. Save. Oh man, I am very curious now. I mean, the writer in me is like, no, we got to keep the story going. But like, you know, the human in me is like, yeah, what is it actually all going to get us in the end? So shame Batalamus took his own life before we could realize this. Okay, here we go. Going with Jennifer. You may have lost your mind thinking that you can even attempt living a normal life. But then you're the same guy who actually listened to the twisted abusive Svelkby that convinced you it was a good idea to attack the Emperor too. Oh right, we never found Semra's bones. Oh no. Oh no. What if she's alive or her daughter is still alive? And they find out we've remarried. Oh, could we really do that to her again? Because she cried at our first wedding when she was there uninvited. Then we told her we loved her after she put us in a prism. I'm sure the choice you want will lead to a horrendous end, so I voted for the... Yeah, I just remembered now. Yeah. So we got married, which made Semra cry. And then after our first wife died, we hooked up with Semra again, sort of, telling her we loved her. And then she saved us. And then as soon as we woke up, we're like, oh well, time to go marry someone else now. Chat, you voted for this. You voted for this. If Semra is still alive and she finds us, it's your fault. Okay. What's this decision compared to something like that? You tell your second to take command of the camp. When he asks for how long, you just tell him until further notice. He's at a loss of how to respond as you leave. When you arrive back at the museum, you find that Calvin, Jennifer, and several others are packing up a lot of equipment. Hey, what you doing here? Jennifer asks. I had to talk to you. What's all this? Another expedition. After all these years, Quintus is funding another one. What? He's sending you to dig around the Koala Reed again? No, we're going to Rask, Jennifer says excitedly. Rask? Yes. Remember when I mentioned that there were rumors of a warriors guild up there? Well, over the years, I've been studying old maps and newer charts created by the few adventurers that came back alive from there, and I think I've managed to pinpoint the location. See? Jennifer suddenly unfolds the map and points to a circled spot on it. You know a lot of time has passed, but if your knowledge of Rask's geography is still remotely relevant at all, that looks like where Fort Defiance would have been located. That looks like where Fort Defiance was located, you remark. There was a fort there, Jennifer says. Yeah, it was the furthest military outpost in the north of the Empire. We'll save for another, but that was more of a small watchtower. You ask. I didn't know you served in Rask. I didn't actually, but I did carry out one personal favor there for a fellow Eternal. The one manning that watchtower I just mentioned, actually. Oh no! That's where the Wendigo spirit is. They're gonna go digging around the ruins of where we took out the Wendigo. Oh man, too much reading in this game. Oh, the King. It's a choose your own adventure. So it's an actual book that we're reading, and chat gets to vote on the stuff. I'll be playing a horror game on Tuesday evening because it's Halloween. So we're gonna have a special Halloween spooky night on Tuesday. But yeah, tonight it's the story. Yeah, sorry, you came like in the middle of a very long. We've been doing this for what, 6 weeks now? It's been a while. It was much longer than I thought it was. It actually is a full-blown novel. Uh-oh, but it looks like they're going to go digging around where the Wendigo spirit is. Oh, still. Oh, wait, damn. Oh, well, still, this would be one of those times I wish you could come with us. Your knowledge of the area, even if it's out of date, would probably be useful. Believe me, I'm tempted to. I can't believe Quintus is just sending you out there like this. The dangerous journey to Rask is bad enough, but the weather in Rask is just as treacherous as the inhabitants, and I can only imagine after centuries without any order that there's probably only gotten worse since. Well, he probably wouldn't have if I hadn't went to him with the information I found. Plus, he was in a good mood about Senator Baltamelis's recent Sudoku. Did you hear about that? Sorry, I have to say that for YouTube's sake. Yeah, another lucky break for our side. Look, I better go with you, you say. But don't you have the orcs to slay or defending the borders, or all of that can be done without me? I think the army is competent enough now that I don't need to hold their hands. And if they still do, then you're really going to need me to come with you, because that means the soldiers you're taking won't be worth shit in a fight. In fact, if you even want to go to Rask, you're going to need me to negotiate with the Flogger tribe. Not to mention, there's much worse things in Rask than ogres and giants. What about Quintus? Don't you have to report to him? Frick Quintus. He's not my master. He could stand without me holding his hand every 5 minutes too. Nobody tells me what to do. I'm going to create what I miss with my imagination. Okay, yeah. What if we didn't visit Jennifer? I don't know. She would have died probably. Jennifer takes a pause from your remarks before continuing. Well, all right then. As long as you don't think it's going to cause any problems, I'd be very happy for you to join us. So, what is it you wanted to talk to me about? Huh? Oh, that, never mind. Oh, come on. You've obviously had something pretty important if you left your post in Kuala to tell me. This expedition to Rask business sort of distracted you from your original intent on coming here in the first place, but nevertheless, you haven't really abandoned your previous thoughts of settling down with Jennifer, so you take her to one side and tell her. Her reaction is mixed, though not one of any negativity. Sounds like you've given this some thought, and this decision couldn't have just been on a whim for you, Jennifer says. It wasn't. That's why I had to see you. I mean, I know there's something between us, and why shouldn't I focus on that, you reply. What about reviving your empire? Yeah, originally after I woke up and got a bit more of my bearings, the concept of doing that did sound appealing and move me in the direction I've been currently going in. But that's been my whole life. I mean, my original purpose is gone. My empire is gone. Why shouldn't I try something else? What could it hurt? Nothing, I suppose. But you have thought about what else you could do with your time? I mean, no offense, but battle and war are pretty much your best skills. Yes, I know. I wasn't talking about abandoning such things completely, though. I mean, I could go with you on expeditions and guard your museum. Guard the museum? Jennifer says, followed by laughter. What's so funny? The idea that we need a warrior mage to guard my father's museum is hilarious to me. I think the word overkill comes to mind. While the expedition protection would no doubt be of help, it isn't like that's what we do all the time, as you well know. We're in the museum most of the time, and you'd get bored, very bored. Besides, it's not like we get people trying to steal anything on a regular basis. Last time was 10 years ago, and the thief in question only managed to grab a tooth of an older Shako sandworm before he was apprehended. You will not lose your ver. You didn't visit her. Yeah. Yeah, we would have lost her, and it would have been like, oh my god, this keeps happening to me. Well, I could talk about the old empire when people come through or something. So you want to be part of the tour? Yeah, I don't see that working in the long term either. Look, I think you're just feeling homesick or time sick or something again. Why don't you think about this decision more on our trip to Rask? And if you still feel the same way when we come back, we can make arrangements for your future plans, I suppose. You agree to Jennifer's proposal since she does have some good points, and now that you're a little less worried about your future, so much as you're more concerned with this expedition. When Calvin hears that you're accompanying the expedition, he looks relieved. He mentions that he's actually tried to talk his daughter out of going on this thing, but she wouldn't be swayed, so he was going to go with her knowing that he'd probably die in the process. Since you're going now, he's going to stay at the museum, stating that he's completely confident she'll come back alive now. Death flag! Death flag! Oh god. Oh god, if she dies, chat, we have to tell the father. Well, that's an appropriate song. Death flag! Oh no! Why did a wedding song start playing? We're doomed. Okay. Okay, that was funny. Along the way to Rask, you warn everyone about the Wendigo. Other than Jennifer, nobody else seems to know anything about them, and she's only heard stories. Apparently, they're just myths nowadays, but you assure everyone that they're very real, and if anyone begins to feel like an unnatural force trying to gain over their mind, they are to need to see you immediately, and fight the mental attack as if their life depended on it, because it does. This information probably makes everyone a bit more paranoid and on edge, but quite frankly, they should be. Eventually... Why is it clown music? Hold up. This is way too happy. There we go. Eventually, you get to the Flogger tribe territory, which seems to be moved further south from when you last remember. Apparently, Trog has indeed been taking advantage of uniting the other tribes under his banner. The decor hasn't changed, though. They're still favoring the hundreds of dead bodies stretched across various wooden frames with their backs completely flayed of all skin to mark their turf. Naturally, everyone, especially the soldiers, are expecting a fight, given that you're technically at war with the orcs in general, but you tell them you can handle this and tell them to stay put. Oi, use that tunnel, man! The orc shouts from the crude watchtower. Not that you're an expert, but this orc is familiar, if only because of his great fat belly. Fat belly, wasn't it? Where's your comrade? It takes a while for Fat Belly to process this question at first, but eventually he knows who you're talking about. Oh, yous must be Bilge. He dead. Idiot got himself killed getting into a scrap with an ogre, and got popped off like and livid for a while. One bet with on how long. Anyways, Trog specting you again. And on in. He knew I was coming. He's maybe you's powerful, but you stupid like as Bilge. Trog shaman. He has visions, remember. How could I forget? You say, ignoring the rest of Fat Belly's insult and heading past the dead bodies. Trog isn't far ahead. So. Once again, the Eternal visits Trog, and once again, Trog see that you come, but not know the reason. Is our arrangement going as planned? Yes, in fact, while I'm here, I might as well address that too. We have gotten what we need from the war. You no longer have to play any role in it. That is stirring up the other orc tribes. Trog see. Very well, we did have agreement, and floggers have benefited greatly from this arrangement. So is it done now? However, Trog cannot promise that other minor tribes will not still attack. Can only promise that floggers will no longer play any part in such attacks. That's fine. Probably for the best that we still get a few attacks. The other reason that brings me here is that I and my group need to get through to Rask. Trog C. Can you not just go round us? From what I can tell, Trog, that isn't exactly even possible anymore. Your territory was probably blocking the easiest route to Rask to begin with. Now it looks like you're blocking it entirely. We have to go through your territory. Trog doesn't even look enthused by your suggestion, but ponders a bit. Hey Terrence, how you doing? You're leaving, Miku? Okay, bye-bye, Miku. Thanks for coming by. Hope you have a wonderful week ahead of you. And yeah, we got a special stream on Tuesday. Halloween stream. All right. Yeah, Terrence, hope you're doing well. Hope your games and your streams have been going good. Okay. Very well, but you cannot pass for free. Need to extract some sort of payment or security of goodwill. But we aren't really carrying any valuables, Trog. Do not want things, want people. Give us two, one of your passage through and one for the return trip. Okay, so what are you going to do with them? Nothing, just keep them here so you don't pull any tricks. What tricks would I play? I've already dealt straight with you, and you do realize that if I was going to play any sort of trick, I'd be more willing to sacrifice whoever I did leave behind and do it anyway. True, but still cannot just let you pass for free. Tribe would perceive as weakness. Those are the terms. More than fair. Trog is being more than fair. He's downright civilized compared to most humans you've known. Under normal circumstances, you do it without a blink, but you're fairly certain the group is going to be very resistant to this idea. You can't say you blame them. It's like, it's this or just pushing your way through. Okay. We gotta vote, chat. What do we do? Make the deal or push through? Starting the poll, swapping, and begin the countdown. You're good. Oh, nice. I see your streams are always just outside of my time zone because like I have work tomorrow, so I want to watch your streams, Terrence. It's just yeah, it's hard to catch them live. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ding ding ding. Okay, the results are... Whew, that was almost a split. That was almost even. We're going to be pushing through. Okay, we're not sacrificing 2 of our humans. Okay, push our way through. Save. And refresh. Okay, I've got it back up. We swap over. Okay. Frick, that's my answer, and you should just remember it. Trog is being fair, but there's always the chance that Trog is outright lying, and he'll have them for breakfast or something. It isn't likely, but it's still a possibility. Plus, he needs to realize that he's gained a lot with your alliance. Trog, I understand your position, but I can't just leave 2 of my people with you. Now, our deal was pretty good for you, so I'd say letting us through is at least you can do, you remark. Trog continues to remain stoic and unmoved by your remark. This offer is not negotiable, Eternal. Perhaps you are mistaking Trog's civility for weakness, but Trog urge you not to make such a mistake. You either pay price, or you can find another to ask. Trog says, maybe we should do that. Surely we could find another way around, and Jennifer begins to say, but you're only half paying attention. You're too annoyed with Trog right now. Look, we're not going to waste time going around your shitty barren territory. It's not like you've got anything worthwhile here that we're going to disturb anyway. You seem to forget who the frick I am, Trog. I could slaughter you right now, and you know it. We're going through, and that's it. Eternal, you killed Trog, and you bring down the entire wrath of the floggers down on your head. And even if you get away, floggers will turn their eyes towards your precious nation and never stop waging war until it has completely been burned to the ground. Given some recent events I've experienced, you seem to think I actually care about Nayland, but perhaps killing you isn't the solution, you say, and then suddenly grab Trog. He attempts to struggle, but after a couple of hard punches to the face, you knock him to the ground and tell someone to hand you a rope. What the hell are you doing? Isn't this going to bring every orc here down on our heads? Jennifer exclaims. Nope, Trog here is going to be our safe passage. Now give me some damn rope, you order. One of Jennifer's crew nervously throws one to you. Meanwhile, everyone, including your soldiers, are looking around, anticipating an attack. You fool Eternal. You believe floggers will not attack because you have Trog hostage. You think Trog care about life. Nice try, Trog, but it's all BS. If you were a regular simple-minded orc, I'd agree, but you aren't, are you? You're a frickin' shaman. I'd wager that even most of the floggers know how advantageous it is, and they won't risk your death. As for your life, well, like I said, if you were the average orc, I'd say no, you don't care. But you're not average. You have a sense of self-preservation. Even if you didn't, you wouldn't have made a deal with me in the first place. Now, let's go, you say, and pull Trog up from the ground after tying him up. Hey, General Stalkers, what's up? I'm doing good. You will rue this day eternal, Trog says, but complies with your commands. I'm really afraid. This seems really dangerous. Maybe we should just go back, Jennifer says. What the frick did you think this was going to be, Jennifer? A walk through the flower fields? If you think this is dangerous, what the hell do you think Rask is going to be like? It's a pitiless land filled with frickin' monsters that will eat your frickin' heart. This is your expedition. I suggest you get comfortable with the fact that the unexpected things like this might happen, you yell. Jennifer is taken back by your response. Granted, she's been on the receiving end of your virital before, but not for quite some time, and at the time, you weren't putting everyone in danger. Come on. We're getting the hell out of here, Jennifer remarks to her crew. This is just insanely dangerous, Jennifer remarks, and begins to walk in the opposite direction. Her crew slowly follows her. Are you freaking kidding me, you say? After all I've done for you? Done for me? You ruined this expedition by taking an orc shaman hostage. Even if we do make it through, did you think about how we're going to make it back? I don't know what the hell happened with you recently, but you're not thinking things through. You just told Trog that you didn't even care if the orcs burned down Nayland. I highly suggest you get your... Jennifer's speech is cut short with an arrow through her back and out her chest. She stares down briefly to see the head of an arrow dripping blood and a piece of a heart on it. She then falls to the ground, dead. That death flag came in pretty solid, huh? The weird thing is, you don't even see any orcs in the direction where the arrow came from. In fact, there aren't any around. Yet another arrow hits one of your soldiers. You turn to Trog, who just stands there silent, still tied up. Call off your freaking greenskins, Trog. You turn them invisible or whatever you did. I don't care. Call them off or your life ends here, you command. You were right, Eternal. Trog do value life. That's why Trog do not even really hear. Trog says, and before your eyes you see Trog's image completely disappear. An illusion. All along you are talking to an illusion. Who knows where the real Trog is? You have little time to find out as more arrows from invisible orcs rain down in your position, killing whoever is left. Had you been paying more attention, you could have cast a barrier around yourself and avoided them. But while you were threatening the illusionary trog, several arrows puncture your internal organs. You fall to the ground and begin coughing up blood. You desperately try to heal yourself before you succumb to your wounds, but there isn't enough time and you start to lose consciousness before the orcs finally materialize and finish you off with a more up-close and impersonal way. Your last moments of being beaten to death and chopped into bloody, unrecognizable pulp by several cubs and blunt axes. Rip! Okay, we're gonna go back in time. We're gonna go back in time, and we are going to pick the make the deal option. Rip. Save. Okay, we go to the top and then we refresh. Okay, so we're gonna make the deal. We're gonna give them 2 of our men. All right, you'll have your 2, Trog. I need to go back and speak with my people about which 2, though. Trod nods, and you return to the group to explain the situation. It goes about as well as you expected. You can't expect us to stay with these savages. They'll kill us, one of the workers explains. We're at war with these monsters, the soldier remarks. I'd have to agree that leaving anyone here is tantamount to leaving them to die, Jennifer adds. Look, this is the only way we're getting into Rask without a fight, and I guarantee we're in no position to be fighting hundreds of orcs, you remark, and then point at the soldiers in the group. Now, you lot are soldiers, which technically puts you under my command, and if I order any of you to stay, you better damn well do it, or else you're going to have me to deal with, and I assure you, if that happens, you'd rather have orcs. That being said, I'd rather not leave my soldiers behind, because we're going to need every competent fighter we can get when we do get into Rask, you say, and then point to the civvies in the group. You lot, on the other hand, I can afford to leave any one of you behind. This remark is met with more protest and exclamations of how which one of them is more valuable member of the group. They're turning on each other, chat. You're unimpressed and simply say that if there's any digging or caring to be done, anyone can do that, and if it's for some intellectual purpose, Jennifer is still going to be the most knowledgeable one on whatever it is you do find in Rask. So again, the rest are superfluous. This statement is met with more protests until Jennifer suddenly tells them all to shut up. I don't like this, but he's right. I'll take volunteers first, Jennifer remarks. Predictably, more begging, protests, and threats follow, which Jennifer addresses that it's either to stay with the orcs or try to head back to Nayland without any escort protection. Eventually, one brave soul volunteers, muttering that if he's lucky, maybe they won't eat him, and he can learn more about their culture. The second one loses a lot draw. She's not happy about her bad luck and the situation, but resigns herself to her fate. I'm glad you backed me up, you say. I didn't really want to, but I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of backlash from my workers. But the potential for this discovery is just too important, and I trust you. I just hope you trust this orc as much, Jennifer remarks. I don't, but he's been reliable on matters much greater than this one. The worst that could happen is that he plans on killing us on the return trip when we're exhausted from the dangers of Rask. But we'll deal with that when the time comes, you answer. Well, I guess this is all worth it then. After the 2 sacrificial lambs are presented to Trog, he promises once again that no harm will come to them, and the rest of you cautiously pass through Flogger territory, which actually overlaps partially into Rask. In fact, you pass an area where you believe Fort Destiny once stood. There's no evidence of it anymore, just wilderness now. You wonder if it was destroyed during the Cataclysm, or if it was time that ultimately took it. Eventually, you clear Flogger territory, and you're in true wilderness of Rask. You, Jennifer, and a couple of others go over the maps, deciding on which way would be best. Using your memory, you point out that despite the long passage of time, there's still evidence of the old Empire roads, and that you should use those as a basic guide to head north. If you're lucky, you may very well take you all the way to Fort Defiance. Just a second, chat. I'm just looking for our bracelet. There we go. The journey north is as miserable as you remember it when you first came to this unforgiving land. If anything, it seems worse now that there's no longer tamed by the Empire. Still, you travel quite a distance before you catch sights of figures moving in the surrounding forests. Stop. We're being watched, and we're going to be attacked soon. In fact, we're probably surrounded. I suggest everyone prepare themselves, you say. The group forms a protective circle as best they can, while you try to keep an eye on all possible directions of attack. Eventually, a few orcs and ogres emerge from the trees. However, something doesn't look quite right about them. They're savage looking like you'd expect, but even for their kind, they're moving in a fashion that isn't typical. It's more like how an animal would move. Oh no, the Wendigos! They don't make any usual taunts or threats either, but you do hear some loud guttural growling sounds. It probably isn't surprising that some of the soldiers decide they aren't going to wait around to be attacked and go ahead and fire. 2 or 3 of the attackers are wounded, but the rest make a horrible wailing sound, which causes everyone to clutch their ears in pain. Then they move in for the attack, but it's more like a looping gait rather than running. Ogres don't typically run either. Oh shit, Wendigos, you shout as you cast your Mind Shield spell. But before you can complete it, a possessed orc is already upon you. Meat, the orc hisses with its fanged, filled mouth right before in front of your face. You can feel a claw dig through your armor and puncture your skin just before you stab the monster through the neck with your dagger. Blood spurts all over, and you manage to get the thing off of you and stomp it repeatedly in the throat, crushing it completely. You then hear a voice in your mind.
I sense power. Great power. You're an eye. Hated eye. Eyes away. Away, my fellows, before this they destroy us all.
The voice exclaims. Before you know it, the possessed orcs and ogres cease their attack and begin backing away. Everyone is a bit confused, and quite frankly, you are too. Hey, remember when we destroyed that Wendigo before? Maybe it remembers, like it warned the other Wendigos. Why'd they stop attacking? Jennifer asks. Because we're kicking their asses, ha! So much for dreaded Wendigos, a soldier remarks. Several of the other soldiers cheer in agreement and press forward to attack the retreating Wendigos. You aren't exactly sure what's going on, but apparently this Wendigo knows you have the capability to destroy it. However, nobody else here can, and if the Wendigos figure that out, you're going to be in trouble when the spirits are released from their dead hosts. You're not going to give away the fact that everyone else is defenseless by shouting verbal commands to stop attacking, so the best thing you can do is cast your spell, which is going to be a brand new experience for you since you've never actually cast a mind spell over other people before. Ignoring the sounds of gunshots and shouting around you, you concentrate on your spell and try to focus it on the group. It takes a lot more energy than you anticipated. Meanwhile, you're getting questions on what you're doing. Shut up, all of you. I'm trying to protect our lives, and if it's taking all of my concentration. Now, does anyone hear any voices? I'm not talking about my own right now. I'm talking about a raspy sounding voice going on about giving up or something similar. This question is followed by the group all stating that they don't hear anything like that. You breathe a sigh of relief, and while you still can't sense any Wendigo spirits lurking around, you're not going to take your guard down yet. Okay, good. Like I said before we got here, if anyone does hear voices, let me know immediately. I heard one of them in my head, and it thought we were eyes, or they thought I was. It got scared and told the rest to retreat before I destroyed them all. An eye? What does that mean? Someone asks. If I had to guess, they thought I was part of an elite military branch force of the old empire, you say. We've only found a bit of information on the eyes. I didn't know exactly that they hunted Wendigos, Jennifer says. They didn't. In fact, other than some stealth operations during the Falcon War, their primary function was internal security after the shadows were disposed of. They didn't have any magic abilities to destroy creatures like the Wendigos. Guys, I think my cat is a skinwalker. Dang. John, I have a cool fact. I have a Wendigo GF. Nice. Well, not nice. It's going to eat you alive. Something must have changed then. I'll say, the only time I ever heard fear in a Wendigo's voice is just before I banished it. I'm guessing it sensed I had the ability and figured I was an eye, which leads me to believe that this mythical warriors guild we're trying to find must be run by the eyes or descendants of them. Heh. Glad you held something together, old friend, you say with a smile. What? Jennifer asks, not knowing what you're thinking about. Warwick. He was head of the eyes, a sight master. I can only imagine that if the eyes did survive to this day, he must have had a hand in it somehow. Come on, I'm actually just as anxious as you to find this place now. After patching up some of the wounded, you're soon on your way again. You hate dispelling the protection, but if you keep it going constantly, you'll be running out of stamina when you might need it for more physical foes. You just hope that the Wendigos continue to believe that you're all eyes. As it turns out, the rest of your journey is plagued by horrible weather conditions instead. There's also a debate on which way to go when the remnants of the Empire roads disappear to wilderness and can no longer provide a base guideline for where to travel. Jennifer and most of her workers want to follow the maps, but you're convinced that you should continue in the direction where you last remember Fort Defiance to stand. Oh no, chat! What are we going to do? Follow, what do we do? Follow maps or trust our instincts? Come on. Start poll. So Warwick might have a descendant. No. All of the Eternals were sterilized. So yeah, there's no children for the descendants. Let's see. Wait, Warwick? Yeah, Warwick was from our timeline. He was a fellow student who became the leader of the Secret police, basically. There we go. Okay. And ending poll. Boom. The results are follow the maps. Okay. Personally, I never ignore my gut feeling. My gut feeling has saved my bacon too many times in life. Yeah, I trust my gut feeling. Ignore your instincts at your own peril. We're following the maps. Okay. Refresh and swap. Okay. As much as you hate to go against your instincts, you were only here once, and it was over 500 years ago. Your memory of things isn't going to be correct due to changes in the landscape alone. Even if the maps aren't giving the exact location, they're at least more reliable guideline brought back by people who've managed to survive this land. Okay, we'll use the maps. We're going to have to endure this weather either way, so I suppose we're less likely to get lost, you remark. You continue your journey using the maps. It turns out to be a good idea, but nothing is stopping the cold and freezing ice storm that hits hard within a couple of hours. What remaining horses and other pack animals you had left end up either panicking or outright collapse from exhaustion. Your group ends up having to dig out a shelter and hunker down for the storm to pass. Food isn't much of a problem since you just butchered the animals that were dying anyway. Fire isn't either since you can conjure it up. Still, it's not an ideal situation, and others in the group are starting to experience minor frostbite and argue with one another. You tell everyone to shut up and listen when you hear a rumbling sound approaching by. Some think it's sounds of the storm, but you point out that it must be something else as the ground is vibrating a bit. A giant! Get the hell up and move, you exclaim, and the group scrambles to run out to make a shift of the makeshift shelter. Some of you even make it out before a large foot crushes it. Oh, we got getting attacked by giants now? Now, the term giant has never been used lightly. They're called that for a reason. However, this one is certainly larger than average. In fact, you don't think it even noticed you when it squashed some of your group. Well, it didn't at first at least, but when it feels the gushiness of flattened humans on its foot, along with seeing several scattering about in the snow, it comes to the conclusion that a giant could only logically come to, namely, flatten the rest of you as well. Spread out, spread out! He's going to swing that damn club, you shout. Meanwhile, the giant successfully crushes a couple of soldiers with his club, and at this point you don't know where the hell anyone else is because their fear has caused them to run out of your line of sight, which is small enough with the ice storm hindering long-range viewing. You roll out of the way of the club slam and run up to the giant's foot. Oh, it's Elden Ring! And begin hacking at the back tendon. It isn't easy since the giant's skin is calloused to the point where it acts like armor. You only manage to cause a superficial wound before he nearly crushes you again. Realizing you aren't getting anywhere with that approach, you resort to magic and literally give the giant a hot foot, burning the skin enough to cause a roar of pain. The giant starts moving his foot to soothe the injury in the cold snow. You look up and can barely make out the top half of this monster through the storm. You aren't sure if it's going to work with the storm being as bad as it is, but you're going to try anyway. You cast more fire at the giant. Not at his foot, though, but at his loincloth. Oh, low blow! Low blow! You're gonna singe it. Oh, well, I guess there's a lot of flammable material there. Ouch! Ouch! Whew! You cast more fire at the giant. Which is undoubtedly made of some sort of fur. You don't stop flinging fire until you're confident the flames aren't going out anytime soon. Predictably, the giant starts beating down on its flaming crotch in an effort to stop the burning sensation, bellowing so loudly that you imagine all of Rask can hear. The giant runs away from the combat area, grabbing snow and ice around it and throwing it on the still burning fur loincloth. Sheesh, that brings a whole new meaning to the term fireballs, a voice shouts behind you. You turn around and see a figure completely bundled up in snow gear, standing with others dressed in a similar manner. Naturally, you're ready for a fight, but the one who spoke up holds his hands. Hold on there. Are you part of the expedition group? We just bumped into a few of them running from the giant. Said one of you was actually insane enough to fight the damn thing. Yes. What have you done with them? Nothing. We're on patrol and got caught up in the storm, and then we heard screaming and came to investigate. Your people are right over this small hill here with some more of us. Naturally, we just send you all your way and tell you you're fools to come to Rask in the first place. But now that we've seen you in action, I can't help but think the Vision Lord would want to meet you. Vision Lord? Are you the Eyes? You ask. We are from the Order of the Eye, and I'm Sightmaster Cowley. But if we're going to talk, I'd prefer we do it in Fort Everwatch. You and the others can rest up there. And if we don't want to go with you, then you don't go, and you can all run to wherever it is you came from. We're not holding anyone prisoner, though the lady of your group, Miss Mole, I believe, says you've been looking for us. As I said, normally we try to keep ourselves to ourselves and turn away most visitors, but given that we're inviting you in with open arms, I should think you wouldn't turn down this opportunity. Besides, I'm fairly certain that none of us here want to tangle with the guy that just chased away old Snowtop single-handedly. What, that giant? If you hadn't noticed, he's not just any giant. If he was, he'd be dead by now. He's probably the oldest living frost giant that we know of, and he's tougher than a troll stake, and more taller than some of the smaller mountains in this area. Fortunately, he seems to only wander about during these bad ice storms that usually no idiot would be caught in, but then here we are. And here you are. You insist that you want to see Jennifer before going anywhere. Cowley takes you to see her and the few survivors. She's glad to see you're alive and hugs you. Her enthusiasm for this trip hasn't diminished, and she definitely wants to see the eyes home, despite the fact that you were nearly crushed to death by a giant. Though that can't be said for some of her employees. You're just glad she's alright and within the reach of your destination. It doesn't take long to get to Fort Everwatch. If it wasn't anywhere near Fort Defiance... Oh, it wasn't anywhere near Fort Defiance once stood, though it's just as well that you didn't go that way. Everwatch isn't particularly large or fancy, but it does look like it was built to stand the test of time. The interior is just as utilitarian, other than symbols of an eye adorning various parts of the fort. It actually reminds you of an old Empire's fort. You can't help but feel at home here, despite only just entering the place. You are brought to this great hall area, and Cowley says he's going to fetch the Vision Lord. In the meantime, he tells you all to stay here, but feel free to look around. This is pretty exciting. I hope they'll let us take something back from this place, Jennifer says while looking at the various plaques. Anything's possible, I suppose, but they don't look like they're much into luxuries. The only decorations here seem to be dedicated to their fallen, like these plaques and those eye symbols. Oh wait, they seem to have battle trophies as well. Check out the giant skull hanging from the left wall, you remark, still feeling a little wary of things. Eventually Cowley comes back with who you guessed to be the Vision Lord. The Vision Lord doesn't look particularly impressive despite his name, though it is certain by the scars on his face he is no stranger to battle. You're expecting him to be a lot older though. As it stands, he looks about your age. Well, not counting your 5th-century nap, of course. He stares at you, Jennifer, and the rest for a moment, then points to Jennifer. I'm guessing you and this lot came from the Nayland Republic? How did you know? Jennifer asks. Where else would you come from? You're certainly not from one of the 6 cities of Arat. They're too busy with their petty squabbles. Besides, we've come across some of your type before wandering up here. A few of them even joined our group rather than head back down. You recruited our explorers? Jennifer says. Yes, if they showed promise and desired to join. I'm sure you might even bump into a couple of them in this place, assuming you haven't already. Now, you on the other hand, you're very interesting. Your armor looks as though it comes from another time, and you can cast magic with ease. And I heard you fended off old Snowtop all by yourself. That's a feat so impressive I can't imagine you're a native to the Republic, the Vision Lord remarks and points to you. What I find interesting is this place, and from what I can tell by your commemorations of your fallen, you feel keeping history is important. So tell me, did Warwick have this fort built, or was it some time after his death, you say, causing some eyebrows to raise? You know of Vision Lord Warwick, then? Not many outside of our order know our founder. How did you come across this information? Easy. We were practically siblings. He was an Eternal, just like I am. He wasn't a Vision Lord back then, just a sightseer, though. I guess he felt the need to assign himself a higher title. Doesn't matter. I'm just glad to see another piece of the old Empire still alive, even if it has taken a very different form. With this response, the Vision Lord steps back, and the other eyes now begin whispering amongst themselves. So, the rumors are true. An Eternal does walk the earth again, and it is indeed the one Vision Lord Warwick mentions in his writings. As you might expect, we don't get much news this way, and we don't venture too far from here, let alone Rask. In fact, a few new recruits we managed to get are probably our biggest source of new information. Tell me, how is it that you live? You explain the exact situation as vaguely as you did to Jennifer and Quintus. The cataclysm struck suddenly, and you were encased in a magic shell, etc., etc., and eventually Jennifer's crew dug you up. I see. How unfortunate that you came in contact with the Republic first. But then I suppose it's better than being stuck in a magic coffin. Still, you're here now, and I believe you will find a better home here, the Vision Lord remarks. What? I'm inviting you to stay with us. Come now. This order was founded by an Eternal. I am somewhat familiar with their mindset based on the writings of Vision Lord Warwick. I can only imagine the dull tedium you've endured in the Republic. How have you managed to occupy your time? Do not presume you know me based on the writings of Warwick. Truth be told, he didn't exactly create the eyes, at least not in their original form. The eyes were originally created by this woman's great ancestor, Jacob Mole, you say, pointing to Jennifer. The Vision Lord nods his head a bit. Apologies, I did not mean to offend. It's as you say, this lady's ancestor had a hand in creating the eyes. Then we've been doubly blessed by the presence of her as well. However, I do believe that you were and still are a man of battle and war. And again, I can't imagine those things being in great supply in the Republic. Surely you would enjoy living here instead. You would be a great asset in our own war of extermination of the Wendigo. We could certainly use the help. This is a sudden offer, and certainly one you weren't expecting. The strange thing is, it isn't out of the question either. A few days ago, you were just going on to Jennifer about how you were restless in the Republic, even with your efforts to help restructure it into a new empire. A glorious undertaking to be sure, but one you've had doubts about recently. Now, this opportunity is certainly less impressive, but there's something alluring about its simplicity. All you would have to concern yourself with is battle, the war, the victories over your enemies in melee combat. You even live in a place that's much comfortable to you. Of course, there's also Jennifer to think about. But while your relationship with her is blooming into something more romantic, what future do you have with her really? She's not even like Allison in that she's a warrior and can truly connect with you on some level, even if she does make the attempts. There's also the fact that you've been worried about her the whole trip. Will you continue to worry about her and allow that to be a weakness to be exploited? If she's killed, will you go through the same emotional ruin you did when Allison was murdered? Do you even want to deal with any of that again? You tell the Vision Lord that you and he are going to have to discuss this in more detail before you make a decision. Jennifer looks concerned when you say this, but doesn't say anything. The Vision Lord says that while you and he talk, the rest of your group can rest up and feel free to explore, as there is nothing of major value, and he trusts nobody would be foolish enough to steal anything. You speak with the Vision Lord, who reveals his name as Kells, for quite a while on the current situation of his order, as well as the history of this place and Rask in general. He also remarks about how the eyes are so hated and feared by the Wendigo. As you might have guessed, magic is in play, but only to a minor degree. Over the centuries, the eyes have managed to focus their minds to create shields against Wendigo mental attacks, along with being able to banish them to oblivion, still vulnerable to normal death through Wendigo hosts, obviously though. After your discussion, he tells you that he will leave you to your decision, and that he hopes you will stay. You then speak with Jennifer about your situation. Naturally, she wants you to return with her, and explains all the reasons why. You end up sleeping on the offer and ponder everything some more, but ultimately, the decision is up to chat! So, chat, what is it that you want? Starting a poll. Big choice moment. Stay with the fort. Ever watch? Return to the Republic. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this one to go while we read the voices of the past. So we're gonna have a look at Warwick's writing. Save, so we can find out what Warwick was up to. Okay, while you're trying to make up your decision on whether or not to stay here, you end up walking around the fort and bumping into Kells again. He holds an old worn book in his hand and holds it out to you. What's this, you ask? This is the journal of the first Vision Lord Warwick and your fellow Eternal, Kells says. You have a sudden feeling that you've done this before. You take the book, and it would seem that at least the eyes took better care of Warwick's private journal than the numerous collectors, including Quintus, did with Brenda's, since the pages aren't falling out. Normally, only a Vision Lord is allowed to read through it, but under these circumstances, I believe you will have just as much right seeing as you knew the man. You're probably thinking that I'm trying to influence you with nostalgia, and you'd be right, but I think if you read through the book, you'd see how the eyes have kept the spirit of the Empire alive, and that ultimately you belong here with us. I'll leave you to your decision, Kel remarks and leaves you alone. Seeing as you could take your mind off your current dilemma, you figure you might as well scan through the journal. You don't quite have the feeling of snooping through Warwick's privacy like you did with Brenda, perhaps because you've gotten used to the fact that they've been dead for centuries and they aren't going to care what you do. While Warwick's journal is in much better condition than Brenda's, it still displays a lot of wear and tear, probably from too much handling. Honestly, if these people really honored their predecessors so much, you think they'd take better care of these things. Apparently, Warwick was lucky enough to be near the Rask border when the cataclysm hit. He mentions that he barely survived the magic acid storm that engulfed the northern part of Kuala. Rask wasn't doing too much better, but at least severe ice storms were better than acid falling out of the sky. He goes on to mention that during the cataclysm, the magic barrier that contained the Wendigo was destroyed, and the evil spirits ran amok throughout Rask. Entire towns were cannibalizing each other before Warwick could scrape together what remained of the military and the eyes. He mentioned being fortunate that several Empire mages managed to escape to Rask, and they were able to combat the Wendigo menace. Still, it was never enough. Even driving the hungry spirits away was only a temporary solution. There were only a few mages to outright banish them, and that always took a lot of energy. And the Wendigos weren't the only threats. Ogres and giants also took advantage of the chaos. Still, Warwick wasn't going to be deterred in his mission to hold together Rask, since for all he knew it was what remained of the Empire. Kala was still too dangerous to travel through, and he'd heard no news. One passage gets your attention. Entry 34. Another Wendigo attack and lost another good soldier today. Still, the fact that I lost only one makes it a good day. The fact that the mages actually managed to banish the bastard makes it even better. I still heard no news from the higher command. I was hoping that my eternal brother, who serves by the Emperor's side, would have contacted me by now. But sadly, I fear that he, along with the Emperor, may not have survived this terrible disaster. I can hardly believe it. I always thought he'd outlive us all. Ha! You were right! At this point, I'd even tolerate Brenda's hostile condemnations towards me. At least then I'd know she was still alive. Oh, she was. I may very well be the last Eternal, but I will not be the last Eye. And if I can help it, Rask will not be the last bastion of the Empire. We've lost too much already. Even now, several towns have fallen here, and only a handful of huddled masses remain in the more secured ones. The Eyes have always been the ones to keep the Empire together, and if they're going to continue doing that, then they have to change to combat the Wendigo threat more effectively. They are going to have to learn magic, and fortunately we have mages to teach them. It isn't going to be easy, but most are probably not going to be able to learn at all. But I do know if one has the potential, then it can be done. This task, this great work, this vision is going to take years, possibly more than I have, but someone will take over for me, and that person after that, and so forth. We will live for as long as the Eyes survive. The Empire will survive. You close the book and the words and reflect on the words. Okay, chat. What? Oh, Stalkers, you gotta go. I don't know, but I gotta get to work. Okay, bye-bye. Okay, here we go. You guys have voted to return to the Republic. That I would have done something. I would have stayed. Oh well. Okay. Again, you guys are in control of the story. Okay. Okay. Refresh. Retreating from the world and living a simple life dedicated to battle would be a kind of escape from any major responsibilities or headaches. You just engage in one battle to the next until you finally fell. At worst, you might become the Vision Lord, which would probably be very likely, but even then you wouldn't have much responsibility or cares. Basically, staying here would be like your final form of retirement for all your years to an ungrateful master and an unforgiving system that demanded everything from you and gave next to nothing in return. Yeah, you're too young to retire, and you've always been the type to do things the hard way, even at your own expense. You're not going back to the Republic, and you'll be damned if Quintus is going to take credit for all your hard work. Even now, he's probably making preparations for doing just that, assuming he hasn't made a complete mess of things. Still, if you have your way, you aren't going back alone. No point in coming all this way for nothing. First thing you do is go to Jennifer. It may please you to know that I'll be coming back with you to Nayland, you say. I sense a but in there somehow, Jennifer remarks. It's actually a however. Anyway, I'm going to try to convince the Eyes to come back with us. What? I know I wanted to bring something back, but I didn't think the entire order is what I had in mind. I doubt if I'll convince anyone. In fact, I'll still consider it a victory if they don't try to lynch me when I suggest it. But I have to try, if only to rebuild the Empire properly. So, are we in any danger? Always. Don't worry, it probably won't be that bad. Jennifer gives you an apprehensive look, but she says she trusts you in this matter. You tell her that everyone should pack up and get ready to run, just in case though. Breaking whatever the rules the Eyes have in place for decorum, you begin to call whoever's nearby to listen to you. I'm only going to say this once, because if I can't convince you the first time, I'm not going to waste my time doing it again. I know you're all very proud warriors. That's good, you should be, but your talents are going to waste rotting in this dreary little fort. This isn't what Warwick would have wanted for the lot of you. And how do you know that? What do you know of the first Vision Lord? An eye angrily shouts. You're guessing he hasn't heard the news than you yet. I knew Warwick a hell of a lot better than any of you. For one thing, seeing as I actually interacted with the man. He was a dedicated soldier of the Empire, first and foremost. I've read some of his writings, and that was true up until the day he died. He never wanted the eyes to devolve into some strange monastery. He intended for the eyes to hold what little of the Empire was left together, and eventually rebuild if possible. Now, I don't know what exactly changed after he died, but obviously that the eyes or whoever took charge of them changed that mission. Well, I'm here to tell you that your original mission can be restored. Your speech is suddenly interrupted by Kells, who comes storming into the room. What is the meaning of this? We have shown you courtesy and respect, and this is how you repay us? You attempt to use us as puppets? Kells' speech is interrupted with a lightning blast to his face. No mental shield in the world is going to protect against that. Kells falls backwards with his blackened head still sizzling and making popping sounds. Wow! We murdered him! Most of the eyes are unsure of what to do, though 4 of them immediately make their good attempt to kill you. You dodge and weave the attacks of the first 2 and successfully run through the pair of them through. The third you freeze on the spot and grab the 4th one's arms, breaking it before snapping his neck. Seeing that nobody else is willing to attack, you kick the frozen third attacker so that he falls over and shatters into multiple pieces. Now, as I was saying, your mission can be restored. What you just witnessed here, I took no pleasure in doing, but I would hate for any of you to pass up an opportunity because an old system that is leading this great order into extinction. Besides, the random worthy adventurer that decides to join, how do you replenish your numbers at a reasonable rate? I don't see many women in your ranks. I don't even see any children. You may be putting dread fear into the Wendigo and other denizens in Rask, but your order is slowly dying. Within another 50 years, I'd say the eyes will best consist of a few old men. The Empire is going to live again, and you can be part of it. You were meant to be part of it. Come with me, and the eyes will never die. Your speech is met with silence. Or stay here and die a slow, lingering death. The choice is yours. I hope you make the right decision, you say, and walk past the crowd. You head toward the exit of the fort and see Jennifer just standing there alone. Where's everyone else, you ask? They started running when they heard the sounds of battle. Even the 2 remaining soldiers. I assume they're already on their way to Nayland by now. And you didn't run? No, I figured that you'd either win or I'd be safer traveling with you anyway, and you'd die, and I'd get killed trying to run back to Nayland, because if the eyes didn't get me, the Wendigo or Giants probably would. So did it work? I don't know. I guess I made my point. But there's a lot of indoctrination there. Centuries worth. It was a long shot, I guess. Even after you killed some of them? The show of force isn't always as effective as we want it to be. But like I told them, I wasn't going to try to convince them the first time. I'll never be able to. Ah well, let's get going. Wow, we just straight up murdered them and then left. GTA drive-by style. You and Jennifer exit the fort and make your way back to Nayland. Fortunately, the ice storm has let up. For a while, you try to track where the others of your group ran. But unfortunately, it looks like they ran in the wrong direction, or at least not the way you came. Jennifer wonders if you should make an attempt to look for them, but you say that you'll be in danger of getting lost yourself, or say that they're on their own. As you and Jennifer trudge through the snow, you get a sense that you're being followed. You turn around and your stalkers make no attempt to hide. Their eyes, one of them walks towards you, alone. It's Crowley. I can't say you convinced everyone, but if it's any consolation, you convinced the smart ones. We're ready for something new, and I was getting tired of this weather anyway, he says. With a new group to travel with and better supplies, you continue on your way. The eyes also know of several shortcuts, so it decreases your traveling time. Eventually, you make it back to Kuala and the Flogger territory. To be honest, you're glad to have some people who can actually fight now. Your more formidable force is met by Trog, and just as he promised, Jennifer's 2 people are still alive and unharmed. In fact, one of them excitedly tells Jennifer that everything he's learned about orc culture since he's been here. Trog see that you return with an army from the north. Always heard there were humans living in Rask. Never knew for sure though. Your 2 people have not been harmed, as you can see, and I trust after you leave, our arrangement of non-hostilities will continue in the future. Well, that'll be up to you. Indeed. Who is this orc? Crowley asks in a semi-hostile tone. He's a great leader to his people and more worthy to be called the Vision Lord than Kells was, given that he can actually see the future sometimes. Let's go. You continue your journey with no major stops, other than a couple times to rest. So what happens when we reach Nayland? Jennifer asks, coming into your tent. I'll assess the situation, of course, but I can't imagine that much has changed. I mean, there's a possibly Quintus has dissolved the Senate and declared himself emperor already in my absence, but it's hard to tell if he hasn't just freaked out without me around. You're going to kill Quintus, aren't you? Jennifer says. Well, it's looking that way. I doubt he's going to just step aside, and even if he did, I don't think I could trust him to stay out of the picture. I take it you'd rather I didn't? At one time, I might have said that would be true, but now things are so different. Still, he's the only one that funded and supported my father's expeditions in the museum. He's also the main reason why the Empire is a possibility. I mean, it's true he couldn't have done this without you, but you might not have been dug up at all if it had not been for him. I don't know. It just seems fairly ruthless to do it to someone that's been alright with you. It is, and I won't argue that it isn't, but unfortunately I found that when it comes to power, ruthlessness is what keeps you from getting killed and getting shit done. I mean, that was pretty apparent with getting the eyes to join us. I mean, if you're going to, I can't stop you, and it won't change my feelings for you. But I also wonder about that as well. I mean, call it keeping my head in the sand, but I'm not sure that I'd be able to walk that same path as you, even if I'm not actively involved in the darker side of things. I mean, can you really see me as an empress or something similar? By the look on your face, Jennifer sees that you haven't even pondered it. Look, let's forget about this tonight. Right now, let's just consummate our relationship, whatever that might be in the future. If this trip has taught me anything, it's that life is too damn short to worry about the future. You'd think I would have learned that lesson a long time ago, but better late than never. You embrace Jennifer. You notice a big difference in the act. Namely, you don't engage in the forceful roughness that you had in the past. Eventually, you learn to control during your time with Allison. You still always had that urge of aggressiveness. You can only imagine that centuries of being encased in a magic coffin, and with Mistress long dead, you don't have that messed up hang up anymore. You certainly have larger concerns nowadays. One of which is that you're going to do exactly when you march into Dolt with a bunch of eyes. One day later. Where have you been? When I heard you weren't at your usual post, and Quintus begins to ask when you come through the front door of his house, and he notices fleshed blood on your sword, and his guards nowhere to be seen. His eyes widen when you raise your hand up to cast a lightning bolt to his face. You find, however, that the spell fails to work on him, and one of his magic rings glows brightly. I figured one of those rings protected you from magic. Pity. I was trying to give you a quick and painless death, you say, and advance upon him with your sword in hand. No! What are you doing? We're on the same side! We're going to revive the Empire! Quintus exclaims, backing up on the stairway and attempts to rub one of the rings. You aren't exactly sure what he's attempting to do, but you're not going to let him do it. You're making you make a lunging rush at him, and he nearly disappears before you, but you've already struck him like a pig. His brief attempt at invisibility fades as his dying face stares at you. What? Why? I helped. I was going to be emperor. Yeah, well, I never told you something, Quintus. I was involved in killing the last emperor, and now I'm going to be taking my rightful place, you say, and throw Quintus over the stair railing where his body falls to the floor in a bloody heap. Damn! Afterwards, you take care of Quintus's family. As dysfunctional as they are, the last thing you need is for any of them to attempt revenge for whatever reason. Damn! The wife and daughter too? Sheesh! The day after, you and the Eyes march into the Senate and officially dissolve it. This actually involves much less bloodshed, as none of them want to oppose you. Indeed, some of them offer to be advisors. You're sure some of the fools will be useful, so you stay your hand. A few days later, and it's official. You make your announcement that the Republic is dead and that the Empire now lives again. The general public doesn't know quite what to make of everything. You're sure that there will be some sort of misguided rebellion, but with the military behind you and the support of the Eyes, you're confident that you won't have too much trouble. This is it. You finally achieved what was always meant to be. Now all you have to do is hold it. Woo! We did it, chat! We formed an empire. What could possibly go wrong? Okay. Save. Wow. Good choice, guys. Nice. The Empire is back. Yeah, it's back, baby. Year 545. So 5 years later. Back to square one. It isn't what you would have. Imagine if we hadn't gone with her, though. If we just stayed, Jennifer would have died, and we wouldn't have had the Eyes. So, yeah, you guys made the right call there. It isn't what you would have wanted. Eternal Program 2.0. Oh, God. It isn't what you would have inherited. It isn't what you would have inherited had things been different. But you achieved what many said couldn't be done. You tamed Koala Badlands, and you have successfully incorporated it into the Empire. Damn! It certainly helped that you and Trog already had an understanding long beforehand, but encouraging more kobold citizens to settle the area worked out a lot better than you had hoped. The eager little scalers seemed to like the wilder and more untamed lands, and also got them out of the more civilized Nayland too, making more than a few rural human populations happier that their homes weren't suddenly collapsing from overdug kobold tunnels. The Eyes have been doing a good job of being the imposing internal security you wanted them to be, and you've already attempted to re-establish a training center for the magic arts. Besides you, the eyes are the only source of magic in the Empire. If they can strengthen their abilities and train others in such things, you'll have magic might on your side, which can only help in the long run. Of course, all this expansion has made your neighbors nervous, mostly the 6 cities of Arat, but the Ashaka Emirates as well, though they've been wary about you even before the Republic fell, thanks to Quintus kicking them out. There is also the Island League of Delurg to contend with now. The pirates and other ne'er-do-wells had to give up their first profession and actually start putting down roots on their dreary little island hideouts, thanks to the fact that Nayland started cutting back on its naval and seafaring endeavors. Oh, so the pirates formed a country. Oh, wow. So that choice that you guys made to cut back on the navy has resulted in a new country. Cool. None of this really matters, though, because you know none of them are strong enough to actually do anything to you. Your neighbors form petty alliances with each other in the hopes that if you did decide to strike, that somehow they could stand against you, though in some cases they'd rather join you. Regnick being one of the city-states that sees the writing on the wall. Governor Daniel Tivas has requested several meetings with you, and surprisingly, you've also gotten a message from the emissary of Linnae. Seems that Dominia Elderlith Davissa wants to also speak with you, though you can't imagine that it has anything to do with joining forces. Oh gosh, that's the Svelk. That's the Svelk. One of your newer advisors, David, formerly senator, has suggested that it wouldn't hurt to speak with them. Of course, most of your military is in favor of just crushing the cities and not talking at all. General Ingrid being most vocal about it. Ah, the joys of having an enthusiastic military once again under your command. Sightmaster Cowley has suggested in shutting the doors to any talks and instead retaking Rask, since it still contains a lot of valuable resources that could be useful in the future. While not completely out of the question, you imagine that his former life influencing that advice. He probably hopes that there might be a recollection between the ones that stayed as well as wiping out the rest of the Wendigo. Finally, there's Jennifer. She's not an empress. She's not even a formal advisor, but you still have a close enough relationship with her that you speak with her from time to time. The two of you realize that your paths were indeed different and parted ways amicably. Oh no, we lost the girl. We lost the girl, but we gained power. Yay? I would rather have a loving partner than having an empire. While certainly a supporter of the Empire, she decided that her place was still archaeology, exploration, and looking after the museum. Hey, respectable. I can respect that. Even more so after her father Calvin died of natural causes 4 years ago. Damn. Still, as mentioned, you do correspond with her, and lately she's been expressing an interest in the islands of Delurg, and even a great ocean past them. Oof. Yeah, well, Allison will always reign true in chat's heart, right? There's always Allison. Of course, with the Island League there, that makes her desire to mount any kind of expedition non-existent. Then again, wait! The island. Somewhere out there's the island of the necromancers. Could we bring Allison back? Thanks to Jennifer's help? Oh, wouldn't that be a happy ending? We're never getting that. We're never getting that ending, are we? Of course, with the Island League there, that makes her desire to mount any kind of expedition non-existent. Then again, if you were more active there, that wouldn't be the case. You could rebuild the Navy again to do more exploration properly, and possibly claim those islands for yourself, along with eliminating the potential danger in the future. A pain in Nayland's side even before you were dug up. One direction you're not looking, though, is south. The Ushaka Desert is still a formidable environment, and sending an army that way you would believe would be the waste, as there is literally nothing to hold. Nothing worthy anyway, since the Ushaka are still largely nomadic and have no real cities. As long as the Ushaka keep to themselves, you have no problem leaving it alone. Whatever you decide, you know you're going to take a prominent role in it. It's time to lead from the front again, to keep everyone remembering that you are no throne-bound ruler. In the meantime, you decide to listen to David's advice and set up a meeting with the 2 rulers from Arat. At first you think neither ruler will agree to meet you in Nayland, but surprisingly, both do, rather than insisting on a neutral or even their own territory. In a few days, both rulers arrive in Dolt and their respective entourage. Neither one is happy about the other being there here. The presence of Svelk probably puts everyone in Dolt on edge. The eyes are on extra alert. Daniel obviously isn't a warrior by any means. He's a skinny man with a goatee and a few lines in his face due to the stress of ruling. As for Edolith, she looks about the same as you last remember. Oh yeah, she's the daughter of Semra, though perhaps slightly older looking. Well, as older looking as Svelk get anyway. When I first heard that an Eternal appeared in Nayland, I had hoped it wasn't you, Edelith says, when she sees you again. I'm sure you'll have to explain yourself to the other Svelk now about how you attempted to seduce me by sucking on my finger. Whoa! Digging up dirt from 500 years ago? Jeez! Woo! Woo! Ordered by your mother? You retort, which causes her entire entourage to react with shock, and a particular female Svelk gives Edelith a dirty look. Daniel and his people, on the other hand, are just as surprised, but find it more amusing. Well, that's off to a good start. Wait, what if they resurrect the Emperor? Oh, that would suck. Watch yourself and your slander. I am no longer a low merc, following the whims of my delusional bitch mother. I am the ruler of my people, and we are not about to be conquered by your so-called renewed empire, Edelith exclaims. We'll see, you remark with a smile, and tell everyone to sit down at the meeting table. Damn, power moves! First, I'm glad you both felt the need to come to see me in person. This makes what we will discuss here so much more personal, though I know there are 6 cities. Do you know why none of the other rulers have desired to see me, you ask? I can answer that, Daniel says. The ruler of the Antinil and Vilizia are already under the influence of the Edelith. So by her being here, they already have their master to speak for them. Daniel, you're just frustrated that you could not sway them into becoming whores for the Empire like you seem to desire, Edelith remarks. Okay, so what of the other 2? Well, since you decided to incorporate those stinking greenskins into your society, the people of Zoe want nothing to do with you, and I can't say I blame them. As for Tellus, who the hell knows? There hasn't been word from them for almost a decade. The entire city could be dead for anyone knows, Edelith says in a bored tone. Oh, sorry, I meant to do the right voice. After hearing this, you ask why both of them wanted to see you in the first place. Daniel tells you that he's basically seeking protection for his city-state. He says that he realizes that Regnick can no longer afford to be independent, and that he's willing to become a vassal of the Empire. He doesn't care if half the citizens are against it. He says it's the best thing for the survival of Regnick. He does make it clear, though, that he is not asking to be annexed completely. He still wants Regnick to be an independent on a day-to-day basis, just that it'll be paying you money in exchange for your protection. Edelith sneers at Daniel and begins to call him a weakling, raising the hostilities of both sides of the table, until you demand that everyone calm down. All right, LD. What the hell is it that you want to say? Because I know damn well it isn't an alliance, let alone vassalhood. You're right. It isn't of being subservient, but rather of setting boundaries right now. The Svelk people are independent and strong. We will not bend to your will, and if you doubt this, then send your armies to invade and see them slaughtered by the thousands. So, I'm supposed to just sit back and watch you get stronger until you attack us, eh? And I'd watch your next words, Edelith. In case you've forgotten, you're not exactly in friendly company right now. You think I care about your threats? Attempt to kill me if you wish, but I will not grovel like this weak human here. Edelith is certainly going all out to be confrontational, though you wonder how much of it is an act for her people because you embarrassed her with the finger comment. Still, you know Svelk, and they aren't all bluff. She's probably being very serious with her grandstanding, which makes you also wonder what power it is that she holds that could potentially stand against you. You're aware that the Svelk do have mages, which does put them above most people, but even you can match that now. If Daniel is correct, then she does have the support of the 2 other city-states, and will probably have Zoe as well, seeing as they hate orcs. Still, even with the extra military help, it wouldn't be enough. Might take a while, but you'd conquer eventually. Either way, Edelith is something else up her sleeve, and she's being overconfident. Could go either way. The temptation to indulge her threats is great, but maybe some caution might be in order. You decide to take Daniel up on his offer and use his city as the launching zone for spies and other possible intelligence gathering plans before you make your final decision, Edelith. That would also give you time to bring your attention to other potential areas of conquest like Rask or Delurg. Oh, okay. So we're gonna, no matter what, we're making the one city a vassal. Jono, check DMs quick, but don't read aloud. Okay. Oh, okay. Trying to remember who that character is. Okay. Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, chat, we got a vote. And this looks like another pretty big one. I know which one I want, but I don't want to influence you guys. So Rask is where the Wendigos are. And Delurg is the pirates with the potential island of the necromancers. So this is a pretty big decision. Big decision. Rask, Wendigos, or Delurg islands. They did say that Rask has valuables, but I mean, Pirate City will also have valuables, so it's up to you guys. Okay, this is a big one though, so yeah, get your votes in. Whew, I don't know what to pick, honestly. Okay, I know, I do know what I want to pick, but I'm not gonna say it. Okay. And it's overwhelmingly agrees with me. Yes, we're going for the islands. Because if we can get hold of the Necromancer Island, we could bring our wife back. Okay. We're going for Delurg. Wow, I don't know either. At this point, it's not even what I want, but figuring out how to avoid a bad ending. Wow, we talk about resurrecting our wife and the freaking marriage song starts again. Imagine, it's Corpse Bride. Ooh. Refresh. Okay, here we go, and swap. While not a true threat in the scheme of things, the Island League of Delurg is still a hostile power on your borders. If you have to go to war with the Arid Confederacy in the near future, you don't want to be worrying about possibly getting attacked from the other side. Rask can wait for now. As for Daniel and Edelith, you'll indulge both of their requests for now. You tell Daniel that he can consider his city under the protection of the Empire, and that any foreign invasion attempts in any form will be met with force. Why are you looking at me when you say that? Edelith asks. Because I know you're kind, and Daniel's already mentioned you have your influence in 2 other cities. Now, you can have your little territory for now, but make no mistake, you're going to be watched from here on in, and if I sense anything that could be a potential danger to the Empire, you're going to wish that you never managed to unite the Svelk to begin with. We'll do as we please, and nobody's going to stop us. Okay then, as you said, just send an invasion force in my direction and see if I'm not being serious. At this point, Edelith just... The clown music. Why is it always the clown music? Okay. At this point, Edelith just rolls her eyes and begins, but shuts up. Obviously, she knows any more antagonism might result in a war, which is apparent now that she doesn't truly want if she can help it. Daniel profusely thanks you for heeding his request, and will make sure to accommodate your people in any way he can. You also almost shake your head at the man's naivety if he actually believes his city is going to remain autonomous in the way that he believes it will. He's going to allow your military there. It won't be long before you've got complete control, and any independence the city thinks it has is only because you're allowing it. Of course, maybe he knows what is probably going to happen, and he's just trying to convince himself otherwise. In any event, you're glad when the Svelk leave. Everyone is, no doubt. It was a reminder of less happy times in your life. You tell everyone that your next move is taking the islands of Delurg, which means you actually have to rebuild the navy. Cowley is a little disappointed that you aren't retaking Rask, but he understands your desire to eliminate the island leagues first. Since building the fleet and having more sailors trained is going to take a while, you spend the next few months trying to gather more intelligence on the League, since your information on them has been spotty at best. Nalan soldiers, as a general rule, have avoided the islands for obvious reasons, but there's always illegal smuggling, so you can get some of the information from the prisons. Most of the information you get is fairly basic, though perhaps more than you had. You find out that most of the League in general has started to become more introverted over the years, which also explains why you don't have much conflict with them anymore. Their capital, Barnacle, is on the largest island and still more or less a pirate haven, but the other islands have no major settlements, and those that do tend to be small groups of people not wanting to share anything with the ruler who lives in Barnacle. When the time comes, you have what you hope to be a sizable fleet assembled. You doubt if your ships are going to be more maneuverable, but you're hoping that their size and firepower will be enough to outpower any resistance you may have. You also decide to accompany the fleet. Part of you has always been a little uneasy about being on water, but you figured this would be a perfect time to get over this possible phobia. Within a few days, you're in Delurg waters, but you encounter no other ships. You pass by a few small islands, but you decide to make your way to where Barnacle is located. You figure that if it's the largest settlement, you need to take that one first, and possibly launch more attacks from that point. When you sail further towards your destination, you encounter a flotilla of ships surrounding a large island. You have an order issued to all of your ships to prepare for battle, but as you get closer, a single small sailboat with a raised white flag approaches your fleet. Ha! They gave up! No way! No way! No way! The crew of the sailboat is taken aboard your own ship, and when it is confirmed that the boat isn't containing a bomb or some other trick, the sailboat crew only consists of 2 people and neither one is armed. They are both disheveled and unkempt looking, but apparently one of them is the ruler of Barnacle. Wait, the leader just came... Okay, what is going on here? Hello, great emperor of the empire. My name is John, mayor of Barnacle, and this is my first mate, Cornio, John remarks. I'm surprised you were brave enough to parley, or perhaps foolish. You may speak your mind, but know that we are not leaving until these islands are under my rule, you say. Yes, I've already assumed such things. That's why I graciously opened up this town to you without conflict. You weren't expecting much of a fight, but you weren't expecting this. Truly, you're surrendering. Well, I prefer to think of it as negotiating a better deal, but if you prefer to think of it as a surrender, then we're in no position to argue. I know that in the long run, he will not be able to defeat you, even if we fought today and won. Oh, it's just it's a messenger. Okay, it's not the leader. Even if we fought today and won, you would only come back with more ships later. We only have limited resources, while you have much, much more. So, that's it? The Island League is officially capitulating to the Empire? John laughs a bit at your question. Well, let's just say that I'm capitulating. Not sure if the Island League as a whole is, and that's assuming you even consider the semi-cohesive unit nowadays. Barnacle is yours, and whatever that entails. I just hope that I can continue on as a mayor. I believe my experience can... Yeah, you're looking to save your own ass. Got it, you interrupt. We'll see, but what's all of this about the rest of the Island League? John goes on to tell you that much of Arat Confederacy and the Island League is not a single entity, but rather an alliance of several groups. Barnacle just happens to be the biggest and most powerful. John says that despite the size of the other groups, they may not wish to join and will have to be eliminated completely. He also states that some of the other groups have disappeared completely. He says he doesn't even know what happened to them. Perhaps the environment just swallowed them up. Strange things have been found on the less explored islands after all. Ah, the island of the necromancers! The Emperor's coming back. He's probably trying to revive himself. Well, I suppose if you want to keep your current job, you'll be providing me of good maps, and of course you have. Of course, anything you need. So, shall you be coming to the Barnacle now to claim it? Well, it is one of the goals of this journey, you reply. When you get to Barnacle, the place is fairly well kept, despite being a haven for disreputable criminals. The funny thing is, you don't even get a sense of resentment as you pass through the platoons of soldiers. It's early, yet though John himself is very accommodating, providing you and your people with whatever they want or need. You don't know if this is because he really wants to please you so he can keep his job, or he's planning on tricking you somehow. While deceit is always a possibility, you sense it's almost more like relief. Maybe he was having problems with the rest of the Island League leaders, and now that you're here, he sees it as a way for him to eliminate them while still keeping his position. In any case, you tell everyone to keep alert and prepared as usual. After a few days, you think you've seen everything you need to, and gotten all the information you need from John and Barnacle in general. After a bit of thinking about it, you decide that you'll just go to all the uninhabited islands that John has provided for you, and either wipe out the groups or incorporate them into the Empire, if they prove to be cooperative. Rather simple plan, really. You decide that John can go ahead and stay mayor of Barnacle, but you'll be keeping troops here, of course, as well as your own ships. Now you're just wondering if you need to stick around for this rather mundane search and destroy mission, or go back to the Empire. Chat, I know what I want. Okay? I know what I want. What do we do? Okay, here you go. Starting the poll. Are we returning to the Empire or are we staying? Oh, wait. I gotta start the countdown. The illusion of choice. Oh, wow. Wow, I can't believe this. Everybody is voting to stay. That's incredible. You know what the funny thing is that all of you guys actually voted for the exact same stay option. You all voted for the first stay. Not a single person voted for the second stay. Okay. Let me... I'll do it for real. I'll do it for real. Okay. Really this time. Stay or go home. There we go. It was worth a shot. Oh, 15, 14, 13. Check DMs. Oh. Okay. 3, 2, 1, done. And wow, 100% vote on stay as well. Wow. Incredible. Well, I'm glad that we sorted that out democratically. Stay in Barnacle. Save. And refresh. And swap. This is funny. Okay. The scale was already weighted. You weren't influencing the chat at all. Come on. I wanted to exercise my power at least once throughout this playthrough. Okay. Considering that you're not really going to launch any other major operation until these islands have been tamed, you might as well oversee the process. John warns you that you're probably doing more than fighting diplomacy. He mentions that some of the other groups living on the islands have become very odd and more isolated, some of them to the point where they attack anyone on sight. In the next few days, you see what John was talking about when you come into contact with your group of islanders. They don't even speak other than war cries, and in some cases completely gibberish. Other groups, while not as wild, they're just as hostile and need to be eliminated. It's a fairly time-consuming process, sometimes due to the intimate knowledge of their own islands, but it doesn't matter in the end, because, well, where are they all going to run? There is a rare occasion where you're met by hostile ships, but these are much rarer. John apparently has the biggest fleet in the league, so you easily outnumber and outpower any such encounters. I really want to go visit the island of necromancers. I really want to make sure that our father is not trying to make a sudden return. I would rather catch him early than wait for him to come back at full power and be like, oh, thank you for rebuilding my empire. Because that would be the worst. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Jono, our Eternal is the new emperor, but that doesn't mean you're the emperor. Yeah. Okay. While you've got more than enough ships and troops to split up and search the numerous islands, it still takes months. You start getting familiar... you do start getting friendlier island encounters, however. John figures that you've been doing to everyone else is beginning to get round, so people are finally waking up to the idea that you mean business and aren't going away. Seems like a likely conclusion. John tells you that your search and destroy mission should probably be coming to an end soon, as he's dug around his office and found some of the older maps that haven't been used in a long time. Not sure if it's necessary, but I know the Empire likes to be thorough. There's an island cluster far out to the northwest that you probably haven't searched yet, John says, handing you a dusty old map. What? Are these like so-called lost islands or something? You ask. Not really lost so much as not visited very much anymore. They used to be used more when piracy was more lucrative, but as time went on, they got used a lot less. Also, they've actually drifted further out into the open seas as well, so those maps are more of a guide than a precise location. Just another reason why they become less visited or used. Still, who knows what might be living out there. With this in mind, you set off on what will hopefully be the last mission of these islands. This is it. Okay, we're going. We have to be going there. Come on, fingers crossed. The journey to the island cluster takes about a week, but the maps weren't too inaccurate. John was right, though. They have drifted from what the locations were on the charts. You wonder what caused such a thing to these, but not the other islands. Then again, you're not an expert on geology or the ways of the sea. You're just here to claim the damn islands and be done with it. There are no signs of ships, so these islands probably are empty, but you don't need any possible surprises later. As usual, you have some of your fleet split up to have their crews search the other islands. When you land on the island that you've chosen to search, you find that the island's ground is fairly soft, and water seems to seep through it at every step you take. You wonder if this place is in the beginning stages of sinking completely. The island shows no signs of life, though upon more exploration you do come across something you thought was lost to time long ago. A ruined structure lies half above the ground, half submerged underwater. It's worn and crumbling from age, water and other elements, but it's an old shadow temple. You're actually surprised to find it, considering it was leveled when the shadows were eliminated back during the old Empire days. Not exactly the most pleasant of memories for you, considering that they were your enemy and experienced Osiris, but you get the impression Jennifer would love to dig around this place for the historical value. Just as you're about to call it quits, you hear a loud explosion coming from the direction of where your ship was. You and the rest of your soldiers waste no time in running back. When you arrive and see it on flames and slowly sinking into the sea, you also see some of the crew that stayed on board dead on the ground nearby. But more disturbing is that you see some of the same crew cheering at the fact that the ship is on fire and sinking. You don't know exactly what the hell is going on, but you know this is a very bad situation. The first thing you do is order the sailors with you to open fire on the traitors. After that's all done, you try to keep morale up. Don't worry, we're not going to be stranded here. We've got a whole fleet out there, and I'm sure several of our ships saw that explosion, you say. Naturally, no sooner do you calm everyone's immediate fears when new ones crop up all around you. Several humanoid creatures begin popping up from the water. They have fish-like qualities and wield weapons made out of coral or bone. It's obvious that their intent is as they advance in your position. You order your troops to form a defensive circle. You lob a couple of fireballs at the fish people group in order to thin out their ranks and also cook them nice and good. More of them emerge from the water, and you realize that you're severely outnumbered you are. Your soldiers only have so many bullets, and eventually they manage to start closing the ranks. You focus on casting an area of effect spell in the hopes of eliminating more of them. You rain fire and ice down on the islands and kill multitudes of fish people, but it is at a terrible cost. Most of your troops are wiped out as well, but those are the severely wounded, and yet you still haven't stopped the fisherman horde. What the frick? It's like they knew I was... You don't even complete that sentence as you mumble it to yourself. You suddenly come to the realization that this whole thing, from Barnacle to this island, has been one big trap. There's an island league after all, right? But the only thing that humans around here are in leagues with are these aquatic monsters. The worst thing is somehow they got some of your people to turn them against you. Probably managed to do it when the group splits and then comes back to report that they didn't encounter any hostilities. Only friendly islanders. Who knows how many they managed to brainwash or mind control. Or well, you don't know exactly how they got to your people, but it hardly matters right now. You spend the better part of the day personally slaying fish monsters. Eventually, the rest retreat, but that doesn't stop the fact that you're stranded out here. You wait a couple of days for the hope of rescue from one of your other ships, but you get none. Instead, you see and hear several explosions in the distance, probably from battle or sabotage, no doubt. You attempt to build a raft from wood on this island is scarce, and in any case, you don't have the time to finish it as another horde of fishermen come back to attack you again. You manage to fend them off, but they are actively destroying what bit of the raft you did create. They continue the cycle every few days, and you're successful in driving them back despite the odds. You manage to survive on fish person meat to survive, but the problem is the lack of fresh water. As for fisherman blood, you may as well be drinking seawater. You just can't keep up your strength to survive the ongoing assault, and again, there is no rescue in sight. Eventually, after a week of holding out, you eventually succumb to the combination of dehydration and fisherman attacks. Soon after your bloody death, your body is almost mostly consumed of your bones used to make more weapons. Damn it, we died! Okay, chat, that was my fault. Okay, we're gonna return to the Empire. My bad, I got us killed. It was greedy, okay, chat. I was greedy. I got us killed, but I wanted to go to the Necromancer Island. Oh, I'm worried about Dad coming back. I'm worried about Father. I so knew it. Seeing as you've taken care of the major problem here, you don't see any need to stick around for the mundane search and destroy missions that'll undoubtedly take months. You could focus on more important things. So you return to the Empire, giving John a warning that while you're graciously allowing him to keep his positions, any sign of possible betrayal or anything similar will be met with complete cleansing of Barnacle and his painful drawn-out demise. When you get back to the Empire, you make the announcement that the Delurg Islands are now currently being incorporated into the Empire, and what remains of the so-called Island League is being hunted down as you speak. Sightmaster Cowley seems to be happier than anyone, as he suggests once again retaking Rask should be the next priority. You tell Cowley that the retaking of Rask will definitely be next on the agenda, but you know it's going to take a lot more manpower than Delurg. You'd rather wait until you completely tame those islands first before launching another major operation. Still, you can make preparations in the meantime. As the months pass, you get a few reports about how things are going in Delurg, and so far there's been no major troubles. While there has been a few skirmishes, for the most part your soldiers have found most Delurg inhabitants to willingly surrender the Empire law. It is also around this time that you get a letter from Jennifer. She asks you about your recent visit to the Delurg Islands, and it might be safe to launch an expedition to the islands. You write back and tell her that it's probably safer, but considering that the island, but still hostile League members who know what sort of dangerous wildlife on the islands, you tell her that it probably shouldn't go. However, you follow up that if she does insist on going like you know, she probably will, then to at least stop at Barnacle first, and to take your seal that you're sending with a letter that you're writing to the nearest officer, or even the mayor that she'll have an armed escort to protect the expedition. But just as you suspect, Jennifer goes off on her expedition. She was never one to play it safe, but you're pretty sure she'll be fine. Nope, she's gonna get eaten. Year 547, 3 years later. Trouble, my emperor? Callie asks. Sigh. Looks like David just sent a message saying that there was some weird religion that's been cropping up in Nayland. He says that there hasn't been any real trouble yet, but he felt I should know due to my stance on organized religion. Ugh, I'm going to have to return to the Empire and straighten out all this shit out. You know, when I brought most of the eyes with us here to Rask so that we could effectively fight the Wendigo, I was concerned about perhaps an increase in crime or possibly even a bit of rabble-rousing in Nayland. Not this shit. We're finally making good progress. I just don't need religious fanatics to possibly mess up my plans. You explained to Cowley that you'll be leaving him in charge of all operations in Rask, seeing he's very familiar with the territory already. You have confidence he'll be fine here. Of course, he's been slightly revenge-driven on the Wendigo when you find out Everwatch was overrun and destroyed by them. RIP! When you arrive at your palace in Dult, you're anxious to get down to this new religion business. David greets you immediately and states that Jennifer is also here and wants to see you. Jennifer? I thought she was still digging up stuff in Delurg and trying to find the lost island. She's finally back, you say? Yes, I just sent her into your private chambers. I thought due to your history, you wouldn't mind seeing her. Normally, I wouldn't mind, but I'd like to get down to this new religion you mentioned in your message. Can't afford to waste any time with it. Apologies, Emperor. Very well. She's already here. I might as well see her. What the hell is that on your arm? You asked David, pointing to the skin on his left forearm, almost scaly looking. He reacts rather sheepishly and tries to pull his sleeve back down. Oh, that? Just a bad skin rash. I need to make a quick trip to the apothecary. I'll say that's pretty nasty looking, you remark, and head on to see Jennifer. When you arrive to see Jennifer, she's fiddling with a box of some sort. She closes it up when you walk in. Hey, if it isn't conquering Emperor of Rask, how's everything going up there? Jennifer asks. Better than expected, I suppose. What's that box? Oh, this? Just something I found digging around Delurg. You know, you really should have stuck around that place longer. It has a lot of fascinating historical things relating to the old empire. Well, I'm more concerned with the new one myself, but I trust you haven't had any problems during your time there. No, none at all. My expedition there went very well. Good, good. Look, Jennifer, I like to play catch up and all with you, but you caught me at a bad time right now. David has told me there's a new religion starting to take root in Nayland, and I want to stomp it out before it becomes a problem. You mean like the shadows caused for the old empire? Exactly like that. You know, one of our discoveries was an old shadow temple located on one of the more remote islands. Most of it was underwater, but it was still very interesting, Jennifer says. They did have an original temple located in Delurg. Surprised it's still around. We had it demolished even back when we finished off their seditious religion for good. I think the problem with the shadows is that they waited too long to strike. What? You claim? Oh no, don't get me wrong. I'm glad the Empire defeated them. It's just that from what you've told me about the shadows and from what I've learned from my findings, is that the shadows waited too long to strike out against a powerful enemy. You're about to ask Jennifer what the hell she's getting at, when all of a sudden the doors to your private chambers are kicked open, and 4 soldiers fire at you! Oh no! Did the fish people take over? Oh no! You're taken completely by surprise, and most of their shots hit you. You fall to the floor wheezing and in pain, but you muster up enough strength to cast a fireball at your assailants, who are set ablaze due to their proximity to each other. While they scream and flail about in the hallway, trying to put the flames out, you realize you need to heal yourself immediately before you succumb to your mortal wounds. You begin to concentrate, but are suddenly kicked in the side of the head and shot again, this time in the neck. You still aren't dead yet, but you most certainly will be soon. You stare from the floor at Jennifer, who holds a smoking pistol in her hand. Probably what she had in the box was messing with earlier. I wish things would have been different, but I knew you would never accept the glory that is to come when the whole Kiev rise from his underwater kingdom and submerge the Empire, transforming all into his subjects. You can't even reply to Jennifer's words, let alone her treachery. You just bleed out and lose consciousness. The last thing you see is Jennifer moving in closer to where, upon she gives you one last kiss, which tastes faintfully of brine. No! Wait! So no matter what happens, we die if we go? Oh, wow. So by going to the islands, we get locked in a death? No matter what we do, once we decide to take Delurg, we die. Okay, we have to go to Rask then. Okay. So we're going back 2 steps in the story? Holy cow. Just going near the islands got us killed completely. Jeez. Okay. Brainwashing fish people. Cthulhu Pathogen. Great. Okay, so we're going to pretend we didn't go near the islands at all. My goodness. Having extra resources to fund a potential war in the future isn't a bad idea, so Rask is probably the better choice in that you don't have to worry about building a bunch of ships to take it. Not to mention, you've already got a presence of sorts there with the Trog's Flogger tribe that makes up most of the population in Kuala and spilling over into Rask. The only main concern you have is that you're going to have to transfer more eyes to that front due to the Wendigo danger there, which will probably take away from internal security as well as magic training, but there's nothing else for it. Oof, backtrack that is. Yeah. So no islands, no pirates. The pirates will still be a problem. As for Daniel and Edelith, you indulge both of their requests for now. You tell Daniel that he can consider the city under the protection of the Empire, and that any foreign invasion will be met with force. Why are you looking at me like that when Eldest says, oh yeah, we've read this already. She rolls her eyes. Yep, Daniel profusely thanks you for heeding his request. Blah, blah, blah. He's trying to convince himself that you will let him remain independent. Okay, here we go. You tell Cowley that you're planning to retake Rask, and steps will have to be made so that to steadily start transferring eyes up there to combat the Wendigo threat. Since there aren't any real centralized government to conquer in Rask, the bigger concern is getting folks to settle up there, though. You're sure more than a few enterprising sort or people desperate for work will eventually pour into the area when establishing the first towns. If nothing else, you've already got orcs who are probably going to be doing most of the fighting anyway, since with less eyes around in Nayland, you're going to have to rely on normal military to keep the plebs in line. Or rather, keep them from getting any ideas about getting out of line. Within the first few months, you have the basics of a town up and running along with a fort. As you predicted, orcs are making up most of your fighting force up here and there, and are being led by the eyes. As for the regular workforces, surprisingly, most of it consists of elves who have been finding Nayland less friendly to their kind, and in recent years, and prefer the less human, more wilderness, more to their liking. You take part in this retaming of Rask. For the most part, the campaign is successful, though not without its struggle. With less eyes around in Rask, it seems the Wendigo took advantage of the situation and made a concentrated attack on Fort Everwatch, and they managed to massacre the remaining eyes, or in some unfortunate cases, possess them. The fort itself is founded and in a destroyed state. Cowley naturally is furious by this. Even though he disagreed with his fellow eyes that stayed, he didn't wish this on them. He's become so zealous in his vows to wipe out every single Wendigo in Rask, you actually have to rein him in a bit so he doesn't get himself killed by going off alone on some revenge mission. Within 6 months, you've got the Wendigos on the run again. More and other dangerous denizens of Rask are becoming less of a problem, or at least retreating away from the slow encroachment of civilization. Fort Sentinel is finally finished along with a new town in Tibik. During this taming of Rask, you get a message from David, telling you in a letter that so far, things are going smoothly in Arret. At least on your end of things. The governor is reportedly having some trouble with protesters taking umbrage with your troops being in the city. The commanding officer of your soldier has offered to deal with the problem, but Daniel has said that will only confirm their fears and insists on having his own people deal with the protests. David also tells you that things are going well in Nayland, though there has been a slight increase in crime due to there being less eyes around. Nothing major, but he felt he should let you know. You throw away the letter and grumble a bit at the realization that you have to return to Nayland soon. Even though these concerns aren't big ones, you can't help but believe that if you stay away for too long, more problems will crop up and existing ones will get worse. You look at the snowy scenery from the battlements of Fort Sentinel and take moments to bask in your accomplishments before making that trudge back to Nayland. The cold air actually feels good to you right now. You hear Cowley coming up to find you. There you are. I was wondering if you knew about the messenger that was looking for you. Yeah, I got the message. You know, people probably thought Rask would never be tamed again, but the first steps are being taken and eventually it'll be part of the Empire again proper, just like Kuala, you remark. I'm certainly glad to see it, my Emperor. I just wish all of my brothers had joined me when I first left Everwatch. A tragic loss for you, I'm sure, but do not dwell on them too much, for you are here and they are not. You saw a chance for the eyes to live forever and took it, and because you did, the eyes are destined to live as long as the Empire exists, though those that fell in Everwatch will live on in a way. I suppose you're right, but I'm a little surprised to hear you say it, though. I thought you would have considered them traitors. At the time, I asked you to join me, and the Empire was not even reborn. They couldn't be traitors to something that didn't exist. I thought them short-sighted fools, perhaps, but not traitors, and certainly not cowards. To be honest, I was sort of hoping when we did come back here that maybe some of them might have changed their minds. As did I. I swear I'm going to make sure the Wendigo are exterminated from Rask. Well, that would be a blessing, but as I said, don't get too caught up in revenge, especially since you're going to be in charge of the place. Cowley gives you a quizzical look. What do you mean? I mean as much fun as I had slaughtering the Wendigo, ogres, uncivilized orcs, and those, I forgot the name of those little ferocious furry things with big teeth. Overaxes, my Emperor. Yeah, those things. Anyway, as much fun as I've had doing that and overseeing the first flags of being replanted here, I know I have to get back to Nayland. The boring duty of being in charge calls, so I need someone competent to look after the stuff here in Rask, and since you already know the landscape, probably better than I do, you might as well do the job. Cowley gives a faint smile and a nod. I won't fail you in this task, my Emperor. I should hope not, but I'm sure you'll have a handle on things. Really, it's going to get really tough until more citizens start settling up here. I imagine you probably won't have too much problem with the orcs, since strength of arms is always respected, and the elves, on the other hand, well, they tend to bitch about everything. You'd think the pointy ears would be grateful that I didn't bring them back to slavery. Anyway, just don't kill too many unruly citizens if it comes to it. We're trying to keep people up here. Don't worry, remember I'm a site master. Part of my job is keeping citizenry in line. Okay, well then I'll leave it to you. You find the latest reports and such in your office. With this final command, you take your leave of Rask and return to Nalen. Years pass. Wow, we're about to hit 50. Okay, I think my voice can hold out for like one more. Oh wow, we do hit 50. Year 550. Woo! Okay, here we go. More and more each year, your nation is starting to resemble the empire of old. More and more each year, you're also starting to feel old too. The aches and pains of battles long past, and not too long past, are starting to catch up with you. Oof! Midlife crisis time! You never tried to think about getting old too much, except during the years of when the Emperor was sick. You recently began thinking about what his plans were again, how he was going to defeat death by transferring his essence or spirit or mind or whatever into your own body. Well, at least that's what Semra and Jacob told you, and what... No, I am not marrying my father. Why does it keep picking that one? Oh God, that's gonna get quoted. Okay. Araku, why did you choose now? Hi, Araku, how you doing? How have you been? Oh my goodness. Okay. Recently you've begun thinking about what his plans were again. How he was going to be defeated by death. Oh yeah, Araku, weren't we gonna play 7 Days to Die or something? When was that? When is that? When are we playing that? I've completely forgotten. Sorry, it's been a very busy weekend for me. I was out traveling the whole day. Okay, unfortunately you haven't really the means to go about such things. You know your knowledge of magic is better than most, but the Emperor never showed you that trick, let alone how to get to the Isle of Mortos. You wouldn't even know how to go about creating another one of your kind, either which was also required. Again, so Semra and Jacob told you. Makes you wonder what happened to the Eternals Marek created. You wonder if they survived the initial cataclysm, and if so, what became of them? Did they plan any major role during it, after it? It's apparent that the technique to create an Eternal like you or Marek's tank babies was lost too. Well, it doesn't matter much now anyway. You can assume they're all certainly dead now, along with the crazy old Marek. Still, you wonder about his factory, as it was located in Arat. They've been shut up for 100... Oh gosh. One of the cities has been closed off for a decade. I wonder if the dwarves are involved there. I'm doing all right now. I think it was November the 11th. Oh, okay. Phew. Okay. Yeah, okay. Woo, a panic got kicked in. Okay. In fact, there have been a lot of events going on in Arak lately, according to your spies. The major thing is that there have been sightings of the G hive in Arak, the insect species. Not many, and certainly no major attacks, but the insectoid creatures have been attacking anyone they see as usual. It won't be long before they become a major threat in this area. Right now, it isn't your problem at all, but you imagine they will be eventually. From what you've learned of the G, they have really been putting the Red Cap Kingdom on the defensive, but the gnomes are still holding out, and not even losing any ground. You certainly can admire that. You'd even try to send an emissary to go speak with them, if only to get a better feel for the G threat. But you also heard the gnomes have also ordered a kill on sight. Too well. Anyone. Your best shot about learning of the G will probably be Edelith, but she's also been her usual antagonistic self, especially since you officially annexed Regnick into the Empire. Pointing to you and the G as a threat, she managed to unify the other city-states of Zo, Velizia, and Atnil into something called the Arat Confederacy. In reality, it's a new nation with 4 cities, rather than a true alliance where everyone is supposedly still autonomous. The only other city-state that does not belong to Eldi's little alliance is Tellus, which, as usual, nobody seems to know anything about. Still, it seems it's probably the most danger of the G, considering its proximity to where G territory is starting to expand. You never really gave it much thought until now, but according to the maps, if your memory isn't completely off, Tellus isn't too far away from where Marek's factory was located. Now you're starting to wonder if its mysterious nature isn't due to that factor. Yeah, I think the dwarves are involved there. In a perfect world, Arat would be your next and only priority, but there have been concerns about the Delurg Islands as well. There has nearly been no reports about the Island League activities for years. It's almost as if they've all just disappeared. More concerning is the fact that strange humanoid creatures have been sighted off the coasts of Kuala at night. While Kuala is still mostly home to your orc population, the place is still the poorest of your territories. You still don't want a potential invasion to occur. It might be time to start exploring and possibly conquering the islands at last. Seeing as the orcs will have the most familiarity with this potential coastal threat, you decide to go speak with Trog about it. You might as well anyway, if you're to see his potential successor is going to be, seeing as you knew Trog is supposed to be dying. When you arrive to meet with him, you see just how true that is. The old orc is lying prone on fur skin bedding with 2 younger female orcs attending him. It's a very strange sight to see orcs behaving in this manner. Orcs don't usually tend to have a long lifespan to begin with due to all their fighting, but to see one actually being cared for rather than being taken to the wilderness and left to die is unusual. Then again, Trog was a very respected leader. He's obviously weak, but when he notices you, he tries to sit up and waves away his attendants.
Ah, the Eternal. Dreams told Trog that we would see each other one last time before the end. Now that you are here, Trog, no death comes soon for me. Sad that Trog could not die for warrior, but still good life with many children to carry on name, Trog says.
And who would be that successor, Trog, you ask?
Trog believed that Sprog take over next. Already killed several of his siblings. Others too scared to oppose. Was a great contest. Only well enough to see some of it, but very good, very bloody.
Sorry, I missed it.
Trog warned you though. Sprog not quite as accepting as our current situation as Trog. Believes orcs should be independent. Might be right, might be wrong. Not care. Trog too tired to care anymore.
Am I going to have to kill him?
Do not know. Perhaps, perhaps not. Do as you wish. You always have. As Trog has said, too tired to care anymore.
So I take it that I probably should ask this Sprog about the reports of the humanoid interlopers off the Koala coast?
That. Trog can still help a little, yes. There have been sightings, but nothing human about them. Fellow orcs tell me they look more like fish than anything else. Appear on land sometimes, but never for very long. Not sure if they are able or if they are just scouting. Orcs ready for fight as always if they do decide to invade. Kobolds too. Was not sure about the little scalies living here at first, but enjoy their antics. Respect our strength too.
Trog begins to drift off to sleep, but you aren't done with him yet. While I hate to interrupt your journey to the afterlife, you have any last visions for me?
Yes. Trog did actually. War is coming.
That's a given, Trog. War is always coming.
True, but this one will be against an enemy that you've also never faced the likes of before. They will be relentless. They will not stop, even as strong as the Empire is. I fear that it will not be enough. Worst is the fact that you are approaching your only twilight years. As this terrible threat comes, you will no longer be able to just march in like the great warrior you once were.
Trog, I might be getting old, but I am not ready for a damn grave yet.
True, but you acknowledge that you are getting old. Still, perhaps that is a good sign. Knowing your limits, Trog knew his.
At this point, Trog falls unconscious, and despite your prodding and nudging him, he isn't waking from it. From his breathing patterns, you know he'll be dead soon. Damn it, Trog. You could have at least told me what this relentless enemy was going to be. Guess that was your last little joke on me. Good one, Trog, you remark, and exit Trog's tent. You tell the group standing by that he'll soon be passing on. If anyone wants to say their final moments. Several female orcs go in, but the male orcs just give a solemn look downwards, save for the very large one standing nearby with an equally huge battle axe. When he approaches you, your entourage of guards stand ready to defend you, but judging by his appearance, he'd give them a good fight all by himself.
War always comes.
Yeah.
So, the old man dead?
The orc asks gruffly. Well, if he isn't yet, he soon will be. I'm guessing you're Sprog?
Right. Guess you the imp. Huh? Thought you be bigger. Old man say you powerful though. Guess cause of magic abilities like old man. Fair.
I take it you don't like magic?
Magic give a unfair advantage, even more than shooty weapons. Orc have no more magic types now. Less none Sprog know of. No chance to rebel now.
You're telling me you'd rebel?
Yes, I'd lead a rebellion if we had magic to up the odds. Told old man that he should challenge you long time ago, but he said you were too powerful for him. Scared to die like proper warrior. Now he die like old man that he is, and we still have to serve the Empire.
Who says? You could still rebel. You're standing right here in front of me, surrounded by your fellow orcs. I've only got 5 men with me. I'd say right now is the best chance you've got of killing me and making your people free again. Sprog grips his axe a bit and gives you a suspicious look, pondering if you're being serious or not. You are, of course, But even Sprog eventually senses that he's not taking you up on that offer.
Bah! Wanted to be free, but still stand no chance of killing you. At best might get lucky and wound you before gets its Sprog set on fire or something. Dying in battle one thing, but Sprog not Sudoku. Most orcs are too comfortable now with living under Empire anyway. Half would probably attack me at the Aegis.
Always did appreciate your orcs and your honesty. Now that I know I don't need to kill you anytime soon, what can you tell me about these sightings off the coast of Kuala? Sprog tells you much of the same things you've already heard. Fishermen sighted skulking around the coast and then disappearing. He says he's already got patrols marching up and down the coast, but no sight of them again. For all you know, these fish people are a relentless force that's going to come at you. Is the relentless force that's going to be coming at you. Of course, it could be the G-Hive, which is the only other force you could think of. At worst, it could be both. Could even be the Oshako, or something you haven't even met yet. In any case, you still need to do something about this potential aquatic threat. This has really been a long time coming. Whatever the hell is living on those islands, be they human or otherwise, is going to feel the full might of the Empire. Thanks to having the extra reserves in Rask now, your task of getting a proper fleet up and running isn't a drain on the Empire and gets done a lot quicker. Training sailors takes a little longer, but fortunately your people aren't completely ignorant of the seafaring ways. Within months you have a sizable armada that should do the job. The only thing you're unsure of is whether or not you should go along this conquest. Maybe because you're older and beginning to realize you aren't as fast or strong as you once were. Or maybe because you have an uneasiness about being on the open water, possibly even the slight fear of it, as fear you weren't even aware of. Or maybe it's a combination of the two. You don't know. What it was Trog said before he died, knowing your limitations. Oh my goodness, chat. We are going to war against the fish people, but do we lead from the front or lead from the back? And swap and countdown. So tell me, guys, should we be us in our 50s now leading the charge in the front? Or do we stay at the back? It's entirely up to you. But my throat is starting to give out, so we're gonna cast the vote and we'll resume from whatever that choice is from there. 3, 2, 1, done. Bing, 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 bing. Ooh, very close, very close. The results are lead from the back. Woohoo! Okay, that is the answer. I'm just going to save. I'm going to save exactly where my position is now, just in case we need to go back a page. Because the last thing I want to do is end up like accidentally dying or something, and then we can't click the back button. Okay, so we've saved on the current one we just read. I'm just going to save it again just to make sure. Woo! Okay, my throat is wait, at the back. Very nice survivability. All right. Stretch. Oh, wait a minute. I just want to check one thing quickly. Man, this has gone on for much longer than I thought it would be. Okay. Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay, the save file did work. I just wanted to make absolutely sure. All right, see you next time. Thank you so much for watching, Hector. Hope you have a fantastic evening. Bye, Lael. Bye, Araku, Jetski, Sam, Hilly. Who else popped by? General Storkus, the King, Miku Farmer, and I think that's everyone. Ludwig, Namame. Yeah. Okay. I will see you guys on Tuesday for a special. We're gonna be I'm gonna do a Halloween special. So also let me put on my outro music. Let's not do a raid tonight. I'm just gonna actually let me see. Is Terrence online? We haven't raided Terrence in a while, so if Terrence is online, I'd really like to give him a raid. Nah, it's too soon. Okay, now I'm just gonna call it here. I'll see you guys on Tuesday for the Halloween special. No idea what it is exactly, but I guess we'll find out. All right, everyone, have a fantastic week ahead of you, and I'll see you for the special and then on Thursday. Bye bye.